Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, my international friends, join us as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all that sorts of good stuff. And just let you know right off the top of your guys, if you're just here to listen to somebody say stuff you already agree with, you're in the wrong place. You see, my job here isn't to convince you to agree with me, nor is it my job to tell you the things you already believe. See, our job here is to give our opinions on things and hopefully give our opinions in such a way that it helps you sharpen what your opinion is, regardless if it's the same or completely the opposite from ours. And that's what being film fans are all about. And I'm doing this today, of course, with the one and the only Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
That was very well put, John. I'm doing well. That was nice to start the day with that.
And, of course, also joining us, speaking of nice to start the day with this, Ashley Whalen here. Ashley, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good morning, you guys. Excited to start.
A lot of stuff going on TV right now. I mean, apparently, like, they dropped, apparently they didn't just drop, like, an episode of Black Mirror. I don't watch Black Mirror, but everybody tells me I should. And they dropped, like, several episodes at once. And then I think A Handmaid's Tale came back. And didn't I hear that they dropped, like, instead of just the first episode, like, they dropped the first 3 or 4 or something like that? I don't know. I might be wrong about that. But the best thing on television yesterday was the Toronto Raptors winning Game 3 of the NBA Finals. I still think Golden State's going to win a couple more. I'm still picking, I told you from the beginning, Toronto in 7. Let's see how that goes. All right, listen, guys, we got a bunch of things we need to talk about here today. And before we get to our main topics, there are a few things off the top we got to talk about. And one of them is this. One of the shows on the DC streaming network that a lot of people have been very excited about and have been watching and really enjoying is Swamp Thing. Now, we know Swamp Thing already has gone through a little bit of drama because when they were starting to wrap up, they were heading into their last couple of episodes, shooting their last couple of episodes. Remember, it's supposed to be a 13-episode season. Warner Brothers came out of nowhere and said, actually, we're canceling your last 3 episodes. Now you get to be a 10-episode season. So everybody's like, including the showrunners, like, all right. They did 10 seasons. Now this morning, the news has dropped. Bad news for Swamp Things fans. They've canceled the damn show. They've canceled the show after 1 week. Now, this shouldn't be a total shock or a total surprise given the drama about how they, at the very last second, just slashed out the final 3 episodes, clearly in some sort of cost-saving move of some sorts, I suppose. But to have this show out for 1 week, this isn't like season 4, week 1. This show has been out and on the air for 1 week, and they announced 1 week that the show is canceled, which, by the way, I think is going to hurt even just season 1's ability to gain some traction, because there's going to be people who were interested in watching Swamp Thing, like this guy right here.
Yeah.
That I just didn't happen to watch the first episode yet, but that's okay. I've got the DC streaming service. I'll catch up. I'll tell you what, Rob, right or wrong, I'm not saying this is the way I should feel, but I'm hearing it's canceled, and I'm just like, oh, then why would I bother start watching it? I don't feel the need to jump on board with the show now, knowing that they slashed the last 3 episodes, and now they've canceled the entire show. Why would you announce this now, Robin? Why would you do this to a show that's only been out for 1 week? I just don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, in the world of streaming, I've got a backlog of shows I'm trying to catch up with, and Swamp Thing was one of those shows. Now, look, I don't know what's going on with DC Universe, their streaming services. Is it going to get wrapped up or absorbed by the Warner Brothers, the larger streaming service? I mean, I would think this is a marquee show brought to you by James Wan, who's a marquee director. I mean, I saw pictures. They've started the table read for Conjuring 3. Aquaman 2's on the offing. You'd think they'd want to keep James Wan as a producer happy over Warner Brothers. I don't understand this kind of... I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, John. It seems really ill-conceived to me.
The thing is, though, like, why not just cancel the show before you air it? Like, if you don't believe in the show, or if you don't, instead of saying, you know what, guys, we're just not going to let you film the final 3 episodes, why not just do the more humane thing and just say, you know, we're just not going to do it, instead of getting everybody's hopes up, airing the first episode, getting people to like it, because I'm hearing good things about first episode. Haven't watched it yet myself, but I'm hearing good things. I just do not understand the rationale here. Now, I believe what you were just talking about, Rob. I do believe that at some point we're going to hear that the DC streaming service is going to be shut down and absorbed into a wider ranged WB streaming service as a whole. And by the way, I think it's a good move. But why would you kill content before doing that? I don't know. I don't know if this is a situation where The DC people thought it was a great idea for a show, but the WB people didn't, and they just let them know, hey, we're going to be absorbing it into our network, and we're just going to cancel it, so you might as well let people know. I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like for a studio, Warner Brothers with their DC properties for the past 6, 7, 8 months have really been seeming to right the ship, getting things calmed down, steadying everything, and getting everything moving in the right direction. This type of a move feels like a move DC would have made 2.5 years ago, when it was all chaos. And that's what this feels like. It feels like a little bit of chaos.
But what is it a reaction to? We haven't heard that there's problems on the set. The show, based on the trailers, which they dropped, a month ago? It's like this show has not had a lot of build-up and promotion. It kind of came out of nowhere. You didn't even know the trailers were there. You kind of had to look for them. And I just don't get it. I don't understand. And from what I've seen and what I've heard from people, they really like the show. And
yeah, I mean, what more were they hoping for? The people seem to like it. I mean, clearly this is a decision that was made before they ever aired the first episode.
Right.
So how do you decide to cancel a show before it even dropped? I don't know. But listen, what do you guys think about this whole move? Have you had a chance to see Swamp Thing episode 1? If so, what did you think? And even if not, are you surprised with this move? I'll tell you what, I shouldn't be surprised because of the way they canceled the final 3 episodes, but I am surprised they've canceled like this. Jump down the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right. Let's do this next up here off the top. Yesterday, Rob, we talked on this show about X-Men Dark Phoenix and that it opened disastrously low. It's the critic rating for it opened was disastrously low, which, not surprising, they held off the review embargo until the day before the movie came out, so we all knew that was a big red flag. Good news for X-Men Dark Phoenix. Since it debuted on Rotten Tomatoes at 18%, it has gone all the way up to 22%, ladies and gentlemen. 22% that X-Men Dark Phoenix now sits at. However, even at that heightened 22%, it is now official. X-Men Dark Phoenix is the worst rated X-Men film of all time. Joining the likes of the 5th worst, which is, when you consider how many X-Men films, this isn't bad. The 5th worst is the Wolverine at 71%. The 4th worst was X-Men The Last Stand at 57%. 3rd worst was X-Men Apocalypse at 47%. And the worst, before X-Men Dark Phoenix came out, was X-Men Origins Wolverine, not surprising, at 37%, and then a massive drop. Down to that, now we have X-Men Dark Phoenix at 22%. Now, we talked yesterday on this show, Rob, about, that this is a disastrous coming out for it. It's the final film. But what really jumped out to me and what I wanted to ask you about is, when you look at a franchise like the X-Men franchise, that producers like the Dark Knight producer and producers like Kevin Feige and other producers in Hollywood, they credit the X-Men franchise, particularly that first X-Men film, with being the film that relaunched the superhero genre into this new golden age. It's the movie that made producers go, we can do comic book movies like this. When you're looking at a franchise that has had X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, Logan. I mean, just absolutely stellar comic book movies. For it to go out on a note like this, for it to wrap up this era of X-Men films like this, and I gotta preface all this by saying I haven't seen the movie. So I've got my tickets for tonight. I'm going in about 6 hours. I'm going to go watch the movie for myself tonight, whatever. But for it to go out as the worst of the bunch, according to critic ratings at any rate, it really is a shame, because this is a franchise to me, Rob, that deserved to go out on a high note. It didn't have to be better than X-Men Days of Future Past, but you want it to go out on a high note, and it just doesn't. And I think that's a really, really unfortunate thing. And unfortunately, I think it's going to make it might color people's, vision of this franchise as they look back on it in years to come. And I'm afraid that instead of looking back at this franchise as truly the Godfather franchise that got the new golden age of comic book movies going, that got everybody convinced you can do these movies, that put out such excellent, fantastic fare, it's going to shade it a little bit, because maybe the first thing they're going to think about is X-Men Dark Phoenix. And maybe I'll love the movie. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I don't know, Rob, what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on the long-term legacy of the Fox X-Men franchise?
Well, it's sad to me because, the first X-Men was a budgetarily challenged film. It was about a $75
I love that phrase, budgetarily challenged.
It was budgetarily challenged. They didn't know they didn't know if it was going to work. Lauren Shuler-Donner, the producer who owned the franchise, who bought the rights, did not like Brian's initial approach. As a matter of fact, she wasn't even at the Ellis Island premiere. She went out of town because she was terrified the movie was going to tank. Wow. And I think what this franchise really needs is you need directorial vision. You need somebody, look, Brian was coming off of Usual Suspects and Apt Pupil. You had people like James Mangold come in and do the Wolverine, and then again Logan. James Mangold is a guy, writer-director.
And now he's doing Ford v Ferrari?
Yeah, and I think then what happens is they panicked because Brian was going to do Superman Returns, and they hired Brett Ratner to come in and do The Last Stand. At the time, Brett Ratner was, a journeyman studio director that they could just throw at any movie. What they needed was an auteur. And I think Simon Kinberg, look, I've never met Simon. By all accounts, he's a very nice guy. He's involved with a lot of franchises. He'd never directed a commercial, much less a $150 million movie. Now, I understand in Hollywood you parlay your relationships, but he had no business directing that movie. Movies are hard enough to make indie movies, but your first time out of the gate is a $150 million franchise property that you'd already written a script that was compromised with X-Men Last Stand that covered the Dark Phoenix saga, sort of, and then you come in and you handle not just the most beloved story in X-Men history, arguably, but a movie that's the last of a franchise. It just seemed it was not a well-considered recipe for success. It was, you're rewarding somebody for a job well done, which is what Simon Kinberg was getting. He was leveraging his position. But look what we wound up with. And how much is that movie going to lose now? And where is Simon Kinberg's directing career now? It's a lose proposition all the way around. And it's Hollywood doing its worst. And it's sad because I love the X-Men franchise.
Yeah, and I love the X-Men franchise too. And, I have questioned for a long time. And again, let me preface this. I haven't seen the movie yet. So I'm going to see it tonight. So everything I say, take with that grain of salt. But I have questioned for a long time because I'll tell you what, I am an unapologetic, unabashed Simon Kinberg fan. I have had the privilege of meeting the gentleman. I wouldn't say I don't know him, but I've met him on a couple of occasions. Super energetic, very a really just a geek guy at heart.
Yep.
He has produced and written some great stuff. Not everything great, but what filmmaker has. But I have, from day one that they said he was going to be directing this, my big concern was I never liked the idea of getting a first-time director directing a big, huge budget, tentpole, recognizable IP film. I just think it's a recipe for disaster. And, we were talking the other day, Rob, about the way that Lucasfilm and Disney are kind of managing Dave Filoni. Because, for a long time, Star Wars fans have screamed for Dave Filoni to direct a Star Wars movie, to which I've always said, the guy's never directed anything with real actors. He's never directed a thing live action. So what did Disney do and Lucasfilm do? They're letting him cut his teeth on episodes of Mandalorian, and they're grooming him, and they're getting him ready for this. Now, the fortunate thing for Simon Kinberg is he's already lined up to direct that Jessica Chastain, Lupita Nyong'o film 355 that we talked about the other day. So let's hope that this X-Men fiasco doesn't derail that at this point, which it could, I suppose, but let's hope it doesn't do that because Jessica Chastain seems to believe in him. So that's all I need for right now. But again, I just worry that this will hurt the legacy of the X-Men franchise under Fox, which I think for the most part has been fantastic. And Simon Kinberg's had a hand in that. And I really just hope it doesn't affect it too awful much moving forward. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Hey, listen, guys, what do you think about this whole thing about X-Men, Dark Phoenix now being the lowest rated of all the X-Men films? Do you guys think this is going to hurt the legacy of the X-Men franchise as future generations look back? Or do you think, no, don't worry about it, John. The legacy's perfectly fine. They had too many great movies. Everything's going to be okay. Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right. With that down, let's move on to this next off-the-top thing here. There's this little movie coming called Wonder Woman 1984. It's got a lot of people excited. Director Patty Jenkins returns to do the sequel. She did such a masterful job with the first film. I believe this is a lady that can do no wrong. I love her. But anyway, They have put out their first poster. Even though we're a good year away from this movie coming out, they've put out their first poster for Wonder Woman 1984, and we get a good look at it right here. Very psychedelic sort of things going on. You got Wonder Woman kind of in a merger of a Wonder Woman and Aquaman costume in some sort of way, I suppose, with the... If you really pay attention to the lettering, it's the W's. It's just a whole thing of W's and these psychedelic colors and all that kind of stuff. Maybe this is kind of reflecting something that we're going to get in the movie. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a really stylistic kind of poster at this point. Rob, you've had a chance to take a look at this poster. What do you think about it?
Look, this was an announcement poster. It's a year away. It was dropped on June 5th. Wonder Woman 84 it opens June 5th, 2020.
Yep.
I thought this was a cool, eye-popping poster. It spread across social media. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. I liked it. I mean, I'm like, this is cool. This is a bright, brilliant, non-traditional way to announce that your movie's coming out a year in advance. They didn't have to do it. It was just a little bit, it was like going into a club. I looked at this poster and I just heard the bass line going, and I'm like, I'm in, man. I can't wait to see this movie. Wonder Woman 84, like I said, Patrick Nagel, Duran Duran. Who knows what we're going to hear, what we're going to see. I can't wait. The hairstyles alone I'm interested in. I want to see Wonder Woman with, big padded... Never mind. I can't wait.
By the way, I'm going to take that and turn it into my new ringtone. Just you doing that. Yeah, that's going to be my new ringtone. Absolutely. Ashley, you had a chance to take a look at this poster. What do you think about it?
I think it's great. She looks hot. The colors are great. It's attention grabbing. It's loud. It's fun. It's different. I think it's great. I mean, yeah, it's just to grab people's attention, and that's exactly what they did.
It certainly is attention grabbing with the colors and stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, I don't like this poster. This poster sucks. What is it with some of my favorite, my most anticipated movies coming out that they just put out posters I don't like? Whether it was, Star Wars continuously puts out posters with 80,000 faces on them, and Patty Jenkins this. Like, I'll concede this. You raise a really good point, Ashley. It's attention grabbing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that. Your eye cannot come across this in some sort of news feed list and not have it catch your attention and not have you stop and look at it. And I'll tell you what, too. I'm fascinated by the changing costume. I don't know if that's actually going to be reflected in the movie itself or not, because we've seen, Rob, you and I, they showed us some stuff at Comic-Con, right? They showed us some stuff at Comic-Con, and she had more traditional...
At CinemaCon.
Sorry, the CinemaCon, thank you. They showed a more traditional... Wonder Woman costume. So maybe this is in the movie, maybe it's not, maybe it's towards the end, whatever.
Certainly it looks like something Grace Jones would wear in 1985 Slave to the Rhythm era.
It's also reminiscent of like a POW, like a comic book POW, I feel like, like where that's like what I was saying, like just like that type of graphic.
Yep, I could see that as well. But I just in general don't like it. And the other thing is, I think this whole poster was actually a little bit of a diversion for a story that we'll get to in a little bit, where Warner Brothers announcing they're not going to be doing Hall H at Comic-Con. We'll get to that in a little bit. I can't help but think that this release was a little bit of a diversion from that as well. But look, is it a horrible poster? No, it's not a horrible poster. But I'd admit that there's this trend going on right now with movies I'm really looking forward to putting out posters I don't like. But Patty Jenkins can do no wrong, so I'm sure the movie's going to be great. I'm not going to worry about it, but I got to tell you, the poster's not working for me. But listen, guys, that brings it up, because we've got two people in here who really like the poster. I'm sure a bunch of you guys, too. We got somebody in here who doesn't like the poster. What do you think about it? That's going to be today's question of the day. So this is what I want you to do. Go over to my Twitter account. This is right here at John Campea, and you're going to see the top post is our question of the day. What do you think of the new Wonder Woman poster? Do you like it or do you not like it? Go on over there, register your vote, and we'll check in on that just a little bit later. All right, guys, before we move on to our main topics today, it is Thursday, which means new movies are going to come out. We're speculating about the box office. And one of my favorite online games right now is fanjecture.com. They are one of the sponsors of the John Campea Show, and we're so happy about that. It's basically fantasy sports for film fans. Here's a check out this word from our sponsors at fanjecture.com.
Show off your box office prediction skills with FanJexture. fantasy sports for film fans. Play games like Fantasy Film Book, a sportsbook-style game where the top films from the box office are matched up and given a spread and a total. Do your research and make your picks. Track your results as the box office numbers roll in. Compete for prizes every week. Always absolutely free. Visit fanjextra.com to learn more and play today.
All right, and we want to thank our sponsors at fanjextra.com, and it is a fun game, guys. Go on over to fanjextra.com and check that out. Okay, with all that down out of the way, let's now move on to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics? It's simple. You guys select our main topics by going to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact and filling out the form giving us your topics and questions that you'd like to see covered here. So go on over and do that, hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your topic or question featured here on the John Campea Show. All right, Ashley, what is our first main topic today?
First one is from Gary John Stout. Hello, John and crew. News from the underground, or rumor mill, more likely. Been hearing rumors that Brie Larson might be up for the role of Ahsoka Tano in a new Star Wars movie.
Okay, this is something that started circulating around a couple of days ago, and some of you guys might have been seeing this on Twitter and online. I've been having a few people writing to me about it, asking about it. Here's where this comes from, all right? This is where this whole thing is coming from about Brie Larson as Ahsoka. There's been a couple of things that have happened. Number one, this is going back a ways. Samuel L. Jackson and Brie Larson were telling the story about Brie had communicated to Sam Jackson how huge of a Star Wars fan she's always been her whole life. And Sam Jackson, on May the 4th, they were getting together to do something, whether they were still shooting Captain Marvel, I can't remember. But on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, Sam Jackson brought his lightsaber to set for her. And he let her wield it and all that kind of stuff. And as Samuel Jackson tells the story, she was crying. Like, she was like so overwhelmed actually holding a real Star Wars lightsaber from the movies. She was crying. So that got a lot of people talking, whoa, could we ever see Brie Larson in a movie? Now, fast forward that a little bit. And the actress, the voice actress who does the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Star Wars animated stuff is Ashley Eckstein. I always get her last name wrong. Delightful person, by the way.
Yeah.
She does a lot of stuff in the geek sphere. But anyway, she just put out some social media stuff about, she had a massive geek out moment where she just, I think the other day, was at one of the big debut events of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. And she ran into Brie Larson. And she just wrote all this kind of stuff about that and blah, blah, blah. So you have a couple of things here. You have Brie Larson publicly stating multiple times that she'd love to be in a Star Wars thing. She wants to be a Jedi. Number two, you have the story about Samuel L. Jackson. Number three, you have Ashley, who is the voice of Ahsoka Tano, telling the story of geeking out, meeting Brie Larson, and all that kind of stuff. What you have now done, Rob, is you've created a petri dish, if you will, with all the ingredients to create wonderful rumors. And the rumor coming out of that is, number one, by the way, look at this piece of art that Ray made.
Wow.
Brie Larson as Ahsoka Tano. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Ray does great stuff. But you get all these people now, it's just the rumors start. Brie Larson is going to be Ahsoka Tano. Now, compiling all that, Rob, is the fact that there have been whispers and rumors that maybe an Ahsoka Tano will pop up in the new Star Wars show Mandalorian. That's because Dave Filoni's involved, and Dave Filoni has a permanent, hard-on for the Ahsoka Tano character. It's like his favorite character in the Star Wars verse, and I believe he's the one who created her. So you have all that stuff put together, and it creates this ripe environment for this. However, the reality is this. There are no real reports of Brie Larson being in any sort of discussions or whatever for it. Number one, we don't even know that Ahsoka Tano is going to be in anything. So there's first thing right there. That kills it right there. There's no word that Ahsoka Tano is going to be a character in anything upcoming other than animated stuff. Number two, there have been no legitimate reports about her being even in discussions for being in anything Star Wars related, let alone being Ahsoka Tano specifically. So while all the pieces of the puzzle are there for speculation-hungry film fans, and aren't we all, to put together the pieces to create this rumor, the bottom line is it is a baseless rumor. Now, does that mean that we could never see a Brie Larson as Ahsoka Tano? Absolutely not. Doesn't mean that at all. Maybe she could at some point. But as of right now, there's nothing legitimate behind it. Rob, I'll tell you what. Brie Larson's one of the best actresses on the planet. She just headlined her own movie that made over $1 billion, something that Chris Hemsworth never did in the MCU. None of his headline movies ever made $1 billion, not even the best of them. Benedict Cumberbatch's headline film didn't make $1 billion. Paul Rudd's headlined MCU films never made $1 billion. She's an Academy Award winning, one of the most talented actresses in the world. She's just headlined a film that made over $1 billion. I'd be down. I don't like the Ahsoka Tano character. That makes me very unpopular amongst my fellow Star Wars fans. I do not like the Ahsoka Tano character. But if they announced tomorrow that they were going to do it and she was going to be in it, I think Star Wars fans, particularly Ahsoka Tano fans, should get down on their hands and knees and thank whatever gods they worship that was going to happen. But I don't see it happening. I don't think this is real. Nothing's backing it up. So there you go. Rob, number one, with all the stuff that you've seen and heard, do you think there's any real validity to the possibility of Brie Larson being Ahsoka Tano? And number two, if it were true, do you think that would be a good move or a bad move at this point?
Well, one, I don't think it's true. You should also mention that her directorial debut that co-star Sam Jackson dropped on Netflix.
Oh, that's right.
I think it's called Unicorn Store.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, really? You saw it?
Yeah, my friend has a small role in it, so I watched it the other day. Yeah, it's very quirky, very like artsy quirky. It's interesting. You guys should see it. Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to put it on my list.
I want to watch it. And, of course, I'm supposed to say that Brie Larson is a man-hating social justice warrior, right? Isn't that what we're all supposed to say? I love Brie Larson. She's a fantastic actress. She's not some activist that needs to be shunned. She just wants to have people have more of a chance to write reviews and things like that. What is wrong with that? I don't know. I've enjoyed watching Brie Larson, specifically her relationship with Sam Jackson, which is kind of endearing and adorable, because they've worked together and they really like one another.
Yeah, and I've heard Sam Jackson say he wants to do a buddy cop movie with Brie Larson.
Yeah,
he said he really wants to do that.
Which we kind of saw in Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And I was thinking to myself when I'm watching it, I would love to see like a Riggs and Murtaugh situation, do kind of more of a comedic Lethal Weapon. I'm a huge fan of hers. And by the way, she's been in the business for a really long time. I mean, for somebody who's
so young.
30? She's paid her dues. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. Just from Big Trouble in Little China. The check is in the mail. And she has paid her dues. So I like Brie Larson. I can't wait, by the way, to buy the Steelbook of Captain Marvel, which actually I prepaid for, so I have to pick it up next Tuesday at Best Buy. The Steelbook for the 4K version of Captain Marvel, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to love it.
Yeah, I think it would be great if it were to happen, but bottom line is I don't think this is happening, guys. So there's that. All right, guys, what would you think about that? Number one, do you actually think there's any validity to these rumors? I don't, but maybe you do. Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, with that down, Ashley, what is our next main topic today?
Next up is from Tim Harris. Hey, John, not to beat a dead horse, but in all the recent news about Matt Reeves' Batman, something caught my eye. The story said that Matt Reeves immediately started writing Batman as a 30-something-year-old character, but that was when Ben Affleck and Warner Brothers were still loudly proclaiming that Ben was still Batman, including at Comic-Con. So how long have they been lying to us about this? What else are they lying about?
Yeah, this goes back. Look, this is obviously an issue that, is a stickler for me. Because I was the first one to tell everybody Ben Affleck is out. Ben Affleck's out as Batman, and everybody called me a liar and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, the Comic-Con came where he jumped up and down on stage, said, no, don't believe the reports. I'm still Batman. But now what we know is that Matt Reeves was already writing Ben Affleck out at that point, and they all knew it. Now, here's the specific report what he's talking about here. A new The Hollywood Reporter report claims that the decision to replace Batfleck was made at least as far back as February of 2017, which was when, if only somebody else said that, which was when Matt Reeves was officially brought on board to write and direct the film. According to the report, when Reeves started penning the script, which meant jettisoning the work done by Ben Affleck, he started with a character written around 30 years of age. This means there was never any intention of casting the 46-year-old Ben Affleck in the film. So, Rob, what I do not want to do here is go back over the whole Ben Affleck was out thing. The bigger issue to me here is that what we have seen over the past year or so is like, yeah, it was all true. Ben Affleck was out. Warner Brothers was lying. Ben Affleck was lying. Everybody was lying about this whole thing. But here's the issue to me now, as we look back on it, is that at the time, I said, Ben Affleck is lying, Warner Brothers is lying, but what I said at the time was, it's exactly what they should be doing. You've got a multi-million-dollar, hundreds of millions of dollars of film coming out in Justice League, which was still on the horizon, still coming. You cannot come out and acknowledge that your main guy, Batman, is out after this. Because it's kind of like the whole Swamp Thing, right? Like, I just found out Swamp Thing's canceled. Now I don't feel a lot of urge to go and watch it. You don't want that to be the story. You got to keep the story on the movie. And I thought it was perfectly, even though they were lying to the audience, I thought in that particular circumstance, they were, for business, making the right decision and doing the right thing by making that the line and then towing the line. I thought that's what you got to do. You have to do that. You can't come out and admit that he's not. It has raised some questions with some people about, was it appropriate for Warner Brothers to lie about it? Was it appropriate for Ben Affleck to, do the professional thing and do what the studio wanted to do and lie about it? If so, can we ever trust what Warner Brothers says or doesn't do? And if not Warner Brothers, can we trust anything any studio says? So Rob, let me throw that to you on this. Starting with the specific situation of the Ben Affleck as Batman situation, but grander as well. Do you think there's a greater onus on studios to either A, be honest with their audience, no matter the cost, or B, do you think there are situations when it is the best decision to put out a PR spin and maintain something, even if it is deceiving their audience a little bit? It's a tough position to be in, but you're the head of a studio, knowing Bob Iger as well as you do. What do you think the right approach to something like that is?
I don't think the studios owe anybody anything until they announce a greenlit movie. And because it's always in flux. You never know. I mean, look, studios are developing. When I worked at Warner Brothers and then I worked at Silver Pictures, I read like 4 different drafts of Speed Racer. They tried to make Speed Racer for decades before the Wachowski brothers came in. I'm talking 1990. Speed Racer came out in the later aughts. And it's like they develop scripts for sometimes years, if not decades at a time. And while now in social media and we've got fans and we're all clamoring for information, I always wait. Don't believe anything that's going on with a studio until they've actually greenlit a movie and it's slated for production. And even if it's slated for production, wait till you're on set and they're shooting, because you never know what's going to happen. Things change all the time. I mean, I think it might have been the hope that if Justice League had been a success, a wildly successful film, say $1 billion movie, that they would have retained Ben Affleck and kept him playing Batman in the context of those Justice League movies. But they could have also gone back and done a young Batman, a 30-year-old Batman. There's almost 2 decades between them, and continue that franchise as well. So I think it was pretty apparent that Ben Affleck was out, but there might have been a thought that will not push him to the curb yet, because he's got a pending deal maybe. If Justice League works, and Ben Affleck was really good in Justice League, I thought, they bring him back. You never know. So they're trying to hedge their bets. We're just living in a world where we think we're owed information. I mean, does any company tell you, does Apple tell you what they're developing before they unveil it to the public? I mean, there's a rumor mill, but they don't come out and say these things. Companies don't owe us squat. They don't owe us anything until they want our dollars to pay for their product.
Yeah, what they owe us is good movies.
Yep.
That's what they owe us, and that's where their debt to us ends. I think you're absolutely right about that. And look, I do believe there's a balancing act to be made. Like, you want to build up a trust with your audience. You don't want to make it a habit to lie to your audience.
Sure.
But again, in a situation that's specific like this, I think there are times when, for the good of upcoming movies that you have, and that's your first responsibility, is making those movies successful and all that kind of stuff, I think there are times where it is not only understandable but appropriate, like in this case, where a studio puts out and says false things. I don't believe it's black and white. I believe there are 50 shades of gray, and I just believe this is one of those situations, and I believe there will be other situations like that where it's okay that a studio
And remember, look, I want to point out, these are publicly held companies.
Yeah.
They have investors trading these companies every single day, and they need to know what the fiscal plan is for the next quarter, the next year, the next decade. So when Warner Brothers is not telling us things, I don't think they're necessarily lying so much as they're hedging their bets and trying to protect their position. Because if Justice League had made $1 billion and they'd already announced...
Affleck was out. He wasn't coming back.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think they would have changed it. Maybe. I don't know. But I think you're right.
But you are right. Money can change the most hardened of made-up minds.
Sean Connery,
you're not wrong about that.
Sean Connery was never going to play James Bond again after Diamonds Are Forever. Never, 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 never.
George Lucas was never going to make another Indiana Jones film. Ever, ever, ever. Yeah, no, you make a good point, man. You do.
Money talks, man.
It does.
Everybody likes a little cheddar in their wallet. And look, with enough money, you can make somebody do anything, as human history has proven time and time again.
In the immortal words of Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, everybody's got a price. And who knows what would have happened there. But anyway, guys, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you believe that studios should, no matter what, should only ever communicate totally accurate facts in their PR stuff? Or do you think there may be some situations that warrant them putting out false information? I kind of think the latter, but maybe you don't. Jump down to the comments section below and let me know what you think about that. All right, with that down, Ashley, what is our next main topic today?
Next one, guys, is from Ricky Gonzalez. News recently broke out saying Warner Brothers are not attending San Diego Comic-Con. I find this odd because they have King Kong vs. Godzilla coming out next year along with multiple DC movies. Not only that, but It Chapter 2 and Joker both come out this fall, and I was expecting these properties to have panels showing us footage and all the good stuff. What do you think the reason is? Thank you for everything you guys do, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, we alluded to this back when we were talking about the Wonder Woman poster, that I believe part of the motivation for that poster was deflection away from the fact that Warner Brothers isn't going to be... Here's the thing. Some people are saying that Warner Brothers isn't going to be at Comic-Con this year. That's not true. Warner Brothers is going to have a presence at Comic-Con. How big or how small, we're not sure. One of the things we know for sure, and fact checker Jonathan's going to cover this a little bit more in the movie news feed in a bit, but is, for instance, It Chapter 2 is going to be there. Not in Hall H. They're doing their own little thing called Scare Diego instead of San Diego. I can get it. But they are not going to do the traditional Hall H. That's the big presentation area at Comic-Con that people line up for days to get into. They're not going to be doing their big Hall H production as they have in years past, highlighting and showcasing all their upcoming movies and all that kind of stuff, and they're not going to do it. Now, what makes this particularly, to me at any rate, what makes this particularly odd is the fact that we know Marvel is also not doing a Hall H production. This gives DC the biggest platform in the geek calendar all to themselves. This gives them the platform all to themselves. So it's an interesting choice not to go there. With Marvel, I can understand because they've got their own thing. They got D23, which is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're putting more and more emphasis in there. I kind of get it. But for them, with Marvel gone, to me, that just seems like there's an even bigger opportunity to capture. Now, they could be looking at it in such a way, Rob, that, we actually don't get that much out of Comic-Con. Like, we'll get a big buzz dropping footage, but if we just drop the footage from our studios in Burbank and hit launch on YouTube, we're going to get almost as big as buzz anyway. And the reality is at Comic-Con, while 200,000 people go to it, the Hall H only holds 6,000 people. You're talking about 3% of the attendees actually get in and sit in on the panel anyway. So you can put out news reactions and all that kind of stuff, but still, Rob, I think this is a missed opportunity. I think this is a missed opportunity for Warner Brothers. They've got major comic book films coming out. We got Joker coming out. We got Birds of Prey coming out. We've got Suicide Squad 2 they're working on. They've got all this stuff, not to mention Godzilla versus King Kong. And hell, don't you think they need a little bit of a PR bump for this Godzilla and King Kong universe right now? Like, I just don't get when there's such a prime opportunity. Marvel's not there. You got the stage to yourself. Take advantage of it. So, I don't know. I don't think it's the stupidest thing in the world because they can get a lot of buzz just releasing the news anyway. But I don't know, Rob. To me, it's a missed opportunity. What do you think?
Look, this will be my 31st Comic-Con.
Wow.
And when I first moved to LA in '88, I went to Comic-Con. I drove down to San Diego and went to my first Comic-Con. But I've been to other conventions before that, but my
Obviously,
first San Diego. And I think I honestly, I hate to say this, but I would like to see, I think this is just the beginning of Comic-Con making a readjustment to itself, how the studios have been spending lots of money to make these big splashes in Hall H when they can make just as big of a splash announcing a trailer and dropping it online and getting the same views. There's probably no discernible bump. The reason that Marvel and DC are not doing Hall H is because it doesn't get them anything. I mean, if it got them something, they would do it. But it doesn't, because the world, like you've pointed out with streaming, the world is changing. People are buying their movie tickets online. You don't have to go to these venues anymore. They can achieve worldwide audiences instantaneously on a morning by announcing they're going to drop some footage the night before or the day before or the day before that. And I just think, as much as I hate to say it, I think Hall H has become irrelevant. It's not irrelevant for people that are at Comic-Con and maybe watching the videos later, but I think the studios can control their marketing far more if they don't go to Hall H.
I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. At the same time, though, when Comic-Con is going on, the eyes of the genre world are fixed on San Diego.
Yeah.
And there is an opportunity there. But to your point, like you're talking, when you put on these presentations, you are talking about, do you know how hard it is to get two superstar actors with their schedules worked out to be in the same place at the same time? Now try to do that with 15. That a lot of them are shooting movies, they're on sets, and you got to disrupt shooting schedules and blah. I remember when at D23 they had who plays Falcon again? We were just talking about
Anthony
him.
Mackie.
Anthony Mackie and Chris Evans came to D23 to present some Captain America footage. But they literally had to stop production on their set, put them on a plane, fly them out, get in, show the footage, blah, 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 all for that. And to do that with like 6 films worth of people, it is a logistical nightmare. It's very expensive for them to do it. Again, I see all that and I agree with all that. But I just think particularly with the eyes of the geek and genre world all on San Diego and Marvel ain't gonna be there, it just seems like an opportunity. It just seems like an opportunity to me that maybe you take advantage of it this one more time. I don't know. To me, it's a little bit of a mixed thing.
You know what? The world, they've got that anyway now. I mean, they don't have to have Comic-Con. Comic-Con has become, the people that want to get into Hall H can't get into Hall H.
That's true.
And it's become kind of a bone of contention amongst the fans who go to Comic-Con. And it's Comic-Con has changed. I think it needs to go through a contraction. It needs to go through an evolution. And I think, for fans, now they've got the internet. They know how to manipulate the internet. And as much as I love going into Hall H when it was new. I love to just stroll in and stroll out when I wanted to. Now you can't even do that. And the fans that want to see these things, they get more pushback from people that didn't get in than the people that got to see. Why would they want to go to Hall H where there's any controversy at all? When they can do their own programming, they could do that event at the Crests or at the El Capitan when Kevin Feige did that big. They can do their own event, have people come out who's ever in town, and Kevin Feige himself can announce, here's our and they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to announce their slate for whatever Phase 4 is going to be, and it's going to be a huge event. Huge event.
But here's the funny thing too. Because it's only ever been about 3% of the people actually get into Hall H, Hall H is not the attraction for people to go to Comic-Con.
No.
Like even with, we've seen a dwindling of how many studios and movies actually go to have a presence. Well, they almost all have a presence there, but less and less of them are doing these big Hall H presentations. Yet the attendance numbers keep going up. People, you know why I love going to Comic-Con? It's not for Hall H. I've never gone to Comic-Con for Hall H.
Me neither.
Except for when I had to moderate on Hall H. That's the only time. But other than that, I go because it's awesome being around 200,000 other fans where everybody is happy and celebrating and dressing up and high-fiving each other in the streets. It's good for the soul. That's why I like going to Comic-Con. And I think even with like Warner Brothers maybe not doing a Hall H presentation, it doesn't matter because 97% of the people never got into Hall H anyway. I think you're still going to see Comic-Con explode in popularity. I think we're going to see the biggest audiences in the history of Comic-Con there this year. I know I'm going to be there. By the way, I don't think I've officially announced this before, but this year I am back again. The Masters of the Web panel is happening again at Comic-Con this year. I'll give you more information about that a little bit later. At any rate, so Totally get it, Rob. You're right. There's a bunch of reasons why it's not as necessary to go there anymore. The days of when Marvel went there to debut Iron Man footage, and that was the thing, those days are gone. It's a different sort of thing now. It's not necessarily worth the hassle of these guys when they can announce it in other places. I still just think there was a missed opportunity, though, specifically just for Warner Brothers.
Well, I don't disagree with you, to be honest. I'm just saying, I was just trying to say why it's not happening. What
and
you
I
said,
think you're right.
What you stated eloquently about the attraction of Comic-Con, all of that is still true. Like, I barely, Hall H, I don't even pay attention. I go there for the all of my fellow geeks and having conversations late into the evening while I'm drinking a
good food
beverage
in
of
San
choice
Diego.
and, talking about Starship propulsion systems as I'm on my 10th Jameson. I mean, come on, that's what Comic-Con is all about. And if someone's like, hey, man, it's 5 in the morning. Don't you have to be on a panel at like 9:30 or 10? I'm like, oh, yeah, I should get some shut-eye and maybe drink some coffee. That's Comic-Con to me. That's what I'm into.
Hey, actually, Ashley, have you ever been to a Comic-Con yourself?
No, I was going to go last year and it didn't work out. I got like my credentials badge and everything. And then I think I booked something I forget what happened, but I didn't go and I was so bummed about it. But I'm going to try to go. I mean, I will go either maybe this year, definitely the next. Yeah.
Everybody should go.
I have to experience
once.
it.
Great. It's just.
I've been wanting to go forever.
It's just this. It's an ocean of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's there and just having a good time. I remember I was talking to my wife Ann about it. It's like you're walking through the streets of San Diego, and I don't like big crowds, and it's pretty crowded in San Diego downtown when this is going on, but everybody is smiling and having fun and having a good time, and everybody you bump into is a new friend, and it's just there. Like I said it before, I'll say it again. It's just something that's good for the soul, being in an environment like that. And everybody's got to go at least once. I think everybody's got to go at least once. Okay, with that down, let's move on to the next main topic today. What is up next?
Up next is Alexander Kremen. Greetings and salutations, John. Just read that Benedict Wong has confirmed that Doctor Strange 2 will start shooting next year. Why do you think Marvel hasn't made an official announcement about this? And do you think Doctor Strange deserves a sequel?
All right, well, first of all, let's clear something up here, because I've seen a few people running around saying it's now confirmed Doctor Strange 2 is shooting next year. It's not actually, okay? So what he's referring to is actor Benedict Wong, who plays Wong in a movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch, so that's why I always thought that was great. Benedict Wong was being interviewed recently, and this is what he specifically said. He said, by the way, he's great in these movies. I know they've now got a writer on board who I met at the Endgame premiere. So I think that may be happening sometime next year, okay? So let's be clear here. What he is saying is, yeah, it sounds like they're probably going to be shooting Doctor Strange next year. It's not a surprise to us. We already know they re-brought on the director of Doctor Strange 1 and they re-upped him to do Doctor Strange 2. We already know Benedict Cumberbatch has talked about prepping for Doctor Strange 2. We knew a Doctor Strange 2 was coming. However, let's just be clear. What Benedict Wong did not do here is confirm that they are actually going to start shooting this thing in 2020. He just said, yeah, it's a probable possibility.
Maybe.
I got the feeling it's a probability, but does Doctor Strange deserve a sequel? Hell yes. That first one was so much bloody fun. So much fun, and there's so much you can do with that wild mystic era. Doctor Strange kind of inhabits an area of the MCU that is really his own corner at this point. Like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of got the cosmic element of it. Doctor Strange has the mystic element of it. And I think there's definitely a lot you can do there. He's got a great pantheon of great foils and things like that you can get into. There's so much you can do with the character. I love the dynamic between him and Wong. The fact that you still have Chiwetel Ejiofor out there as Mordo. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential here. Should they do a Doctor Strange 2? Absolutely yes. Is a Doctor Strange 2 coming? Absolutely yes. That's beyond question. Does it start shooting in 2020? Well, I believe this movie's coming out in 2021, so I believe it will start, but it just ain't confirmed yet. Rob, when you're looking at this list of questions, is it going to start shooting next year? Is there going to be a sequel? And should there be a sequel? How would you address that?
One, I love the first Doctor Strange, and I think Doctor Strange in Infinity War and Endgame, more so Infinity War, obviously, became hugely important to the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, the character could lead the Avengers, and I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. So yes, bring it on. I want to see Chiwetel Ejiofor come back. I mean, is he going to be the bad guy? We don't know, but I would love to see another Doctor Strange movie, and I know we're going to get another Doctor Strange movie. Bring it on. And the great thing about a Doctor Strange movie is they can't really change his costume very much, which means I don't have to buy another Doctor Strange hot toy, which I'm all for. But I think it's going to be great, and I think we're probably going to get an announcement later in the year. Sometime, whenever they announce whatever's happening with Phase 4, they'll confirm it, just like they'll confirm Black Panther 2.
You know what? You just reminded me of something, too, that I want to just bring up here quick. The world premiere of Doctor Strange, Ann and I actually went with John and Holly. John Schnepp, who this Comic-Con will mark the one-year anniversary of it's weird to think about, but there's me, Ann, John, and Holly at the Doctor Strange. It was such a great, fun night, such a great, fun event, and such a great, fun movie. So yeah, absolutely, they got to do a sequel to this, and I do think it'll start shooting next year, but let's just be clear, it was not confirmed that it starts shooting next year.
No.
I think it will, but let's keep that in mind as well. All right, with that down, let's move on to the final main topic today. Ashley, what's our final main topic today?
Last one up is from Marish K. Did you see the tweet that Jason Blum put out with him and Jamie Lee Curtis? It basically said that they were talking about stuff. Is this their way of letting us know that a Halloween sequel is actually coming? Why wouldn't they? The first one made $255 million on a $10 million budget.
Jason Blum has this magic ability to dig through your couch, find a dollar bill, a couple of quarters, a few pennies, and then make a $50 million film out of it. He's just created an empire with Blumhouse Productions that he can do that, and Halloween was no exception. Look, I'm one of the few guys I know that doesn't like any Halloween film, not even the original. I don't even like the original. I think the original's overrated. Now send it on. Bring it on. I don't care.
Wow, I'm leaving.
I'm rare. I get it. I'm in the vast minority on that, and everybody considers it a classic, and I tip my hat to that. But so he comes along, he's going to remake, bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, ignore all the sequels, just say this is a true sequel to the original, blah, 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 blah. I loved this movie. I thought it was fun and scary, and it was just everything that it should be. I thought they knocked it out of the park with this Halloween film. Look, when you make a movie, Rob, that you made for $10 million and you make $255 million at the box office, it is a foregone conclusion that you're gonna make a sequel. Now, the specific social media post that they're referencing was this one. This is the picture Jason put up from his office. We got Jamie Lee Curtis holding her Halloween toy of herself. And it basically, the post said, working on something or discussing something or something along those lines. It was weird. Look, did he specifically come out and say, we are now sitting down and working out Halloween 2? No. But is that what he was saying? Yes, that's what he was saying. If it wasn't just for the fact that he and Jamie Lee Curtis are posting these pictures together saying we're working something, her holding the Halloween toy was kind of like a slap across the face and say, wake up, we are talking about developing Halloween 2. It's a no-brainer. They're going to be doing this, Rob. Do you see it any other way?
No. I mean, if you have a $10 million spend and you make $255 million, that's like, you don't get much more profitable than that in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, well, what about $1 billion? No, you spent 10. You spent 10. You made $255 million. Even with what's the movie theaters take and what your distribution fees and marketing, you're still looking at a very healthy, probably 1,000% profit. That's insanity. And for Hollywood, that's the best it gets.
Yeah, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do it, and I totally want to see another one. I love that first movie. It's the first time I've been excited about the Halloween franchise, and if they can get some guy who's as crusty on the Halloween franchise as me to get excited about it, then you've done a hell of a job, and I can't wait to see it.
I want to remake Halloween 3 for Blumhouse. Bring back Silver Shamrock, the masks, kill a bunch of kids, have a real Sam Hain apocalypse. I think it'd be great.
You've heard it. Work through your friend. Send some messages to your friend Bob Iger about that. Listen, guys, I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think they've basically just announced that they're going to be doing a Halloween 2? Do you think they should be doing a Halloween 2? Jump down in the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, that will do it for all of our main topics today. However, we still not want to get to your live topics. But before we do, there's a bunch of other things going on in the world of entertainment that we don't have time to make main topics out of, but we want to make sure you're caught up to date. So right now, fact checker Jonathan proudly presents to you today's installment of the Movie News Feed.
First up, after experiencing 2 successful seasons on Hulu, it's been announced that English actress and model Elizabeth Hurley is joining the cast of Marvel's Runaways for its 3rd season. From JoBlo.com, the Austin Powers alumna recently met with the powers that be and has boarded the project as famed Marvel villainess Morgan Le Fay. Le Fay is able to enchant objects, manipulate mystic energy, and astral project, making her a worthy foe for Nico Minoru, the Runaways' own blood magic user. Hurley will reunite with showrunners Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, who previously created the series Gossip Girl, on which Hurley plays Diana Payne for the show's 5th season. Runaways will return to Hulu for a 3rd season consisting of 10 episodes. Next up, we have some more Toy Story 4 news for you today, as it's being reported Randy Newman will be composing new songs for the film's soundtrack. From ComingSoon.net, Walt Disney Records will release the official soundtrack for Walt Disney Pictures and Pixar's upcoming Toy Story 4 on June 21st, the same day as the film's theatrical release. The soundtrack is set to feature 2 new songs titled I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away and The Ballad of the Lonesome Cowboy, which are written by the Academy Award-winning composer-songwriter. Randy Newman is best known for composing and writing Toy Story's You've Got a Friend in Me, which became the franchise's most iconic song. He was also responsible for other hit songs in the series, including When She Loved Me and We Belong Together. The latter had earned him his 2nd Oscar for Best Original Song. Next up, Scare Diego has become a staple of the San Diego Comic-Con experience, opening the annual pop culture celebration with an emphasis on upcoming horror chillers that will be inhabiting theaters. From Cinema Blend, now we know that It Chapter 2 will kick off this year's San Diego Comic-Con with a presentation as part of Scare Diego 2019. This is the post that was shared on Andy Muschietti's Instagram account, inviting fans to return to Derry, the hometown of Stephen King's eponymous evil clown story. In the anticipated sequel, the characters who faced down Pennywise in the original film have to reunite in Derry decades later, fulfilling the blood promise they made if and when the evil entity should ever show its white-painted face. It Chapter 2 comes to theaters September 6, 2019. Next up, NBC has given a production commitment to Langdon, a drama based on Dan Brown's thriller novel The Lost Symbol. From Deadline, Langdon follows the early adventures of famed Harvard symbologist Robert Langdon, who finds himself pulled into a series of deadly puzzles when his mentor is kidnapped. The CIA forces him onto a task force where he uncovers a chilling conspiracy. The Lost Symbol is the 3rd Brown novel to involve the character of Langdon, following Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci Code, and is set after the events of the Da Vinci Code. However, just like the Angels and Demons movie took place after the events of the Da Vinci Code, opposite to the chronological order in the books, Langdon appears to have been conceived as a prequel, focusing on a younger Robert Langdon. Brown's full Robert Langdon thriller novel series includes 2000's Angels and Demons, 2003's The Da Vinci Code, 2009's The Lost Symbol, 2013's Inferno, and 2017's Origin. Next up, X-Men Dark Phoenix celebrated its world premiere Tuesday night, and the biggest show of support for the film and its star Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner came from the person who originated the title role on the big screen, Famke Janssen. Janssen played the role of Jean Grey in the original X-Men trilogy 19 years ago alongside Hugh Jackman, James Marsden, and Halle Berry. Janssen took on the famed Dark Phoenix storyline in 2006's X-Men The Last Stand, to mixed reviews from fans and the actress herself. In an interview on the red carpet, Janssen said the following: "I'm just happy that Dark Phoenix got her own movie because she deserves it, and it's a really powerful and very important story in the comics that in The Last Stand we just touched upon the tiniest part of. It was something that needed to be told as a full-blown film, and now that's happening, and it's wonderful." Dark Phoenix is in theaters on June 7th. And finally, though plot details and casting information has been scarce, the planned Candyman reboot from Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions is set to begin filming in Chicago this August. Peele is penning the screenplay with Nia DaCosta directing the Candyman reboot. It seems likely that OG Candyman Tony Todd will join previously confirmed cast members Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and Teyonah Parris. Candyman is based on Clive Barker's short story The Forbidden. Look for Candyman to hit U.S. theaters beginning June 12, 2020. And that will do it for today's installment of the Movie News Feed.
And now we are all caught up to date on all the stuff going on. Special thanks again to fact checker Jonathan for all that. All right, let's now move on to your live question, guys. You guys have been firing in. Let's get started. What's up first?
Up first is Ben Rayner. Shout out to Ray for a great picture.
Yes, that is, I got to bring it up again because that is an absolutely, I love the job he did on this graphic. I just think he did a fabulous job on that graphic. I can't stop looking at it. I think it's great. So thanks for pointing that out, man. I'm sure he appreciates that. All right, what's next?
Mason Cackman meant the opening Marvel logo yesterday. The Dusted Avengers aren't in it. Only the remaining Avengers are.
Are you talking about that, like the opening with the do-do-do-do-do-do, and you see the Hulk and Captain America? I didn't notice. Did in Infinity War or Endgame, did it not have any of the dusted characters?
It didn't, and that's really cool. If that's, I didn't notice that.
I've didn't even
seen the movie
notice it
4 times now, and I didn't notice. I got to go see it again.
That's a great catch, Mason. If that's true, that's a great catch. All right, what's next?
Akash Telly, do you guys watch Billions with Damian Lewis and Paul Giamatti? It is a very underrated show, and not a lot of people watch it.
No, and I love Paul Giamatti, and also the girl from Sons of Anarchy, who played Jax's girl is in that show. I've always wanted to watch it. I just never have. I think it's a Showtime show, and I don't really have Showtime. But I want to get. Have you ever watched it, Rob?
No, but I want to watch that and Billions and Succession. Are two
I have
shows that I really want to
Succession.
watch.
I have watched the first little bit.
Is
of
it
Succession.
good?
It actually is quite good. Ash, have you watched any of Billions?
No, but I asked my friend about Succession last night, and he was like, "It's good," but it's. I was like, God, I have so many other shows to watch right now. I feel like I haven't seen Billions though either. I'll watch that though.
All right, what's next?
Galaxy's Edge. Hope you don't refuse to talk about me.
That's a little bit of a jab at my friend Christian, who refuses to talk about Galaxy's Edge. I'm going Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. So there's actually not going to be a John Campea show next Wednesday.
What?
I'm going to be a Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Maybe do a little bit of live stream with my phone.
Why don't you
from
live
there.
stream from there?
I might do it if I can get a cell signal. It's tough when you're getting to a place like that. But I will let you guys know that since you brought up Christian, Christian Harloff is going to be one of the people on my Masters of the Web panel at Comic-Con this year. So that's just a little something for you to keep in mind. All right, what's next?
Zaya just graduated from high school the other day. Congrats. What is your favorite coming-of-age movie?
First of all, congrats. That's awesome. So congrats on making that. I hope whatever you got laid out in front of you turns into beautiful, sparkling success. Favorite coming-of-age movie? Stand By Me is great. It's hard. I don't keep them off the top of my head. Rob, can you think of any?
Almost Famous. The extended
Almost
version of Almost Famous. I love. Stand By Me is great. The Graduate is great.
Oh, The Graduate's fantastic.
My Life as a Dog, the Swedish film My Life as a Dog, is a great coming-of-age movie.
There's like Juno. There's, so many. Lady Bird, even if you want to go there. Is Edge of 17? That I haven't seen that, but maybe.
Edge of 17
8th grade, if you want to watch a newer one. Yeah.
And look, I love Easy A.
Yeah,
Easy A. As far as high school movies go.
And by the way, the one I love most right now is Booksmart. So there's that. So there's a bunch of good ones.
By the way, my favorite high school movie, if you're talking high school, bar none, The Citizen Kane, Risky Business.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Fast Times.
No, Risky Business.
Risky Business is pretty good too. All right, what's next?
The Super Green Flash of Tomorrow, most disappointing month of 2019 in movies so far.
I don't know. I'd have to sit down and look over the list of it. But, well, there's some movies I was really looking forward to that I didn't really love all that much. I didn't love Godzilla all that much, although others did. I wasn't a big fan of, what was another one I just saw that I wasn't really big on? I can't remember, but yeah, it's been a little bit disappointing. Now we got the X-Men. I'm going to see it tonight. Hopefully I'll like it more than everybody else does, though. All right, what's next?
Jersey Kid, you guys said yesterday I should start a blog to put my reviews online. How do you go about that? I believe in my heart I was born to be a reviewer. I love movies and watch everything with an open mind and form my own opinions. I would love to share my reviews, but always had too much anxiety to ever pursue it.
The best thing I can say, and first of all, yes, if I remember correctly, you wrote in yesterday that you had like 20 or 30 notebooks since you were a kid of writing all your thoughts on all these movies, and you should really get those online. The best, without going into it in big detail, the best thing I can recommend you do, Jersey Kid, is search on YouTube for John Campea Getting Started. And the very first video that comes up is this video that I made like 5 years ago, I think, or maybe it wasn't quite 5, but it was a while ago. But I made this 2-hour video of how to get yourself going and started, some tips and whatever in blogging, podcasting, and YouTubing. And I go everything from philosophies you should have, content you should look at, gear you should use, services you might want to use, all that kind of stuff. So the best thing I can do is just say, go find that video, check it out. But absolutely, look, that's a really good hook. If you've got like 10 years of journaling stuff, that would become fascinating to put online in one, whether you do it in podcast form or a blog post form or whatever. But that's the video that I would suggest you go and get some information from to help you along your way of doing that. Do you got any tips right off the top of your head?
A friend of mine named Peter Avellino, he's been doing these deep dive reviews, and his website is called Mr. Peel's Sardine Liqueur. which is a movie reference. But it's one of the greatest film sites on the web, and he just does these deep dives into movies of every era, movies that don't normally get the due that they should get. Look at his website, because it's a very simple website, but it's kind of what I immediately thought about him yesterday when you wrote in, because you've already got this backlog of material. And if you look at his Mr. Peel's Sardine Liqueur, go check it out. It's really interesting. It might be something you might want to pattern your thing after.
And best of luck on that. All right, what's next?
Dennis Lecomte, I just wanted to thank you for being a great place to talk movies, but also an oasis for having opinions given through the lens of political beliefs.
Yeah, look, I just refuse to get political on this show. There is one little caveat, though. See, there are people out there who think human equality is a political issue. To me, it's not a political issue. Human equality is a human issue. I do not believe it's a political issue. The only people it's a political issue to are those who want to keep certain people down and keep them in their place. So other than that, I don't talk economy. I don't talk foreign policy. I don't like talking politics here at all, because here we're all just movie fans. But again, to me, the issue of human equality is not a political issue. It's a basic human decency issue. So I will talk about that from time to time. But otherwise, I do like to keep politics out of it, because, whether you're right, left, centric, whatever race, creed, gender, sexual orientation you are, we all love movies. And this is just a great opportunity for us just to get together and celebrate that. So I like that. So thanks for pointing that out, man. I really appreciate it. All right, what's next?
Sujith, it's high time we get a live-action Centaurians movie. We have the technology for it. Imagine 3 Iron Man-type characters fighting cyborgs together. Oh, my God.
What is Centurions?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking like the old toy Sectars, the insect. Centurions, yeah.
You might be right, Soothers, but I don't know what the property is, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Dalton Burdett, any recently released but critically panned films you find underrated? To me, it's Guy Ritchie's King Arthur. I really enjoyed the film.
You and me can sit in a room and be totally alone, dude, because you and I think are the only ones that do. I like that King Arthur movie. I really do. Was it perfect? No. Was it cheesy? Yes. But it was definitely a Guy Ritchie DNA'd film, and I got a kick out of it. I didn't think it was a great movie, but I definitely got a big kick out of it. And I enjoyed that one, but we are in a very, very small minority in that one, dude. Rob, you got one?
Oh, I have one. Ridley Scott's The Counselor, especially the extended version.
You like that movie?
I love The Counselor. I could watch it over and over again. I love watching the actors. I love that movie. It's one of the darkest movies I've ever seen. I don't mean it looks dark. I mean, by the end of that movie, you want to take a shower. I love that movie so much. It's so good. Everyone hates it.
But that's the great thing about these movies, man. It's the subjectivity. Movies that people hate that we love, and vice versa. That's the way it is. I'm sure if we sat down and thought about it, we could probably come up with some more, but those are the ones that jump off the top
of my head. And one of my favorites, Tough Turf, directed by Children of the Corn's Fritz Kirsch, starring Robert Downey Jr. and James Spader, coming out on Blu-ray, 1985. God bless Kino Lorber.
Yeah, I took your advice and checked some of that out.
It's awesome.
That was so awful.
It's so good. Come on, Kim Richards, one of the wives of Beverly Hills.
All right.
Olivia Barish, Jack Mack in the Heart Attack. Come on, dude.
What's next?
Samuel C. 137. Brie Larson in Star Wars. This is great because 1, she's a good actor. 2, I was starting to worry about the Star Wars man children being too quiet.
Yeah, that'll certainly get some people going. Look, it would be great. It would be great. It's although look, I'm not an Ahsoka Tano fan. I don't like the character. There you go. I don't hate the character, but I don't like the character. But if you're gonna do it, you could do worse than an actress who's got an Academy Award on her shelf and who just headlined her own billion-dollar film. You could do worse than that.
Yeah.
So
she's winning.
She is winning. She is winning at life.
She's winning.
All right, what's next?
Jersey Kid, fun question. If you could walk around town with your own theme music from any movie, which would you choose? Mine would be The Danger Zone, Top Gun, Burning Heat, Rocky IV.
Wow. There's that one Limp Bizkit tune that they did for the Mission Impossible thing. I know why you want to hate me, because hate is all the world's ever seen lately. Like, there's something like that. I really dig that. If I could hire somebody to walk in front of me, 20 paces in front of me with a boombox constantly playing 1-2 to herald my entrance. That might be it. You got a song, Rob?
Oh, yeah.
What is
Wang
it?
Chung's To Live and Die in L.A.
In LA, there. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Every day, all day.
All right, what's next?
Zach Bartron, Wonder Woman's new armor looks a little Atlantean in nature, does it not?
That's exactly what I was saying. It's like it was a cross between we need an Atlantean costume with a Wonder Woman influence. That's kind of what let me bring it up here again for a second, because I that's the first thing I thought. Zach, was it looks very much Mrs. Aquaman-ish with some gold armor. Like,
who's to say she doesn't shop there?
I mean, that is a valid point, Robert.
Maybe Atlantis has an anthropology or something, and she enjoys that. I don't know. Maybe more high-end. Maybe it's Versace.
Wonder Woman can hold her breath. She can go visit Atlantis.
Absolutely, she can.
The Atlanteans and the Amazonians had a long-standing treaty for a long time. Maybe she went. You know what?
Imagine the fabrics.
You heard it here first, folks. Robert Meyer Burnett has confirmed that Wonder Woman will appear in Aquaman 2.
She gets her makeup at the Atlantean Sephora. What's up?
There you go.
Come on.
All right, what's next?
Tucci Victor saw Dead Don't Die early, and it was disappointing.
You know, that's too bad, because I haven't seen it yet. I'm dying to see, because I think it looks great, but I am hearing mixed things about it. Rob, I think you were mentioning you were hearing kind of mixed things too.
Yeah, from its Cannes debut, and I really want to see that movie. Ghouls. I can't wait to see it.
All right, what's next?
Mickey Altieri made the mistake of starting Lawrence of Arabia at 10:30 last night. Forgot how long it really was, but once I start a movie, I don't like to stop it.
Yeah, it's a long one. One of the greatest motion pictures ever made. Like, ever. Like, this is one of those things where you want to be a filmmaker. Here's a list of films you got to watch. Lawrence of Arabia is one of them. The great Peter O'Toole, who I got introduced to as a little kid for a film that my dad brought home on Laserdisc once that he rented from his bowling alley called My Favorite Year.
So good.
I loved My Favorite Year. I watched it again like when I was like 18. I'm like, oh my God, this movie's awesome. And I've been like watching it ever since. Peter O'Toole, ladies and gentlemen, that's a good one. What are your thoughts on, I don't know if I've ever asked you about what you thought about Lawrence of Arabia, Rob.
I love Lawrence of Arabia.
It's
and
great.
it has nothing to do with Lawrence of Arabia, but I think I'm going to watch Saving Private Ryan today to celebrate D-Day.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
anniversary of D-Day.
That's a good one. All right, what's next?
That comes with the next question. Frost, 1977, June 6, 1944, D-Day, 10,000 plus casualties on Omaha Beach. The worst of 5 beaches, 2,500 to 5,000, exact number unknown. American kids. First wave, 92% casualties. Forgotten places like Bastogne, Tarawa, Baton, Luzon. Could we do it today? Rationing the draft, the casualties, British firebombing of Dresden.
Well, I mean that. Okay, first of all, Frost,
That's a lot to take in.
You're bringing up fabulous stuff that is well outside of the scope of what we talk about here on the John Campea Show. Way outside of the scope, but I mean, it is a day. I mean, there have been a number of movies that have really well memorialized the events of that time. You were just mentioning one of them, Rob, yourself.
The HBO series Band of Brothers, they have the Bastion episodes are unbelievable.
Now, but I'm not going to go into about the political issues of could we do that today, drafting, all that. That's not stuff that's within our purview here, nor do I have any business really giving an opinion on that. But, I mean, I think it would be a great idea to follow Rob's lead, and on a day like today, or in the coming days, check out some of those films that do that. What would be some of the best ones? You just mentioned Band of Brothers.
And Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private
The
Ryan.
Longest Day. You know, there's so many great... Look, there is a rich tapestry of World War II movies that examine World War II from every angle.
It's almost its own genre.
It really is. I mean, look, I love a movie about Paul Verhoeven's Black Book that's about resistance in Holland. It's not about D-Day, but it's great too. And there's just... Where Eagles Dare, I was talking about that.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Great Escape, The Dirty Dozen. There's so many great classic movies made about World War II.
Tarantino. I mean, he loves World War II stuff.
Not the most historically accurate ones.
No, but, you know, it went there. And Reed Vonnegut. Okay, so Suthius, hey guys, this is not the end. I'm going hunting.
Again, you know, I think it was Willow Yang wrote in and said, John, why do you hate that song? I don't hate the song. I just think it's a tragically misplaced song. We're talking about the Terminator trailer. It's a tragically misplaced song. That song does not belong in that I'm going hunting. No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. All right, what's next?
Anthony R. What's a pet peeve of Anne's that you do? My girlfriend hates when I read the plots of movies that she forces me to watch. I do it to be a smartass.
I'm sure there are many things. I mean, there's a reason why my wife wakes up in the morning and I say, "Good morning, baby," and she says, "I hate your face." That has happened once or twice. I think the biggest pet peeve she has of things that I do, and I admit I do this and I need to stop. I leave cupboards open wherever I go. I go into the kitchen to pull out a plate. I open the cupboard and I pull out the plate and I just leave the cupboard open. I open up the cupboard under the sink to pull out some dish soap for when I'm going to do the dishes. I leave it open. Whether I'm pulling something out of a drawer, I'm better at closing drawers, but even then I forget sometimes. And that is something that drives Ann nuts about me. And it's something I really do have to fix. So that's one of them. All right, what's next?
Synced up, random question, but why does everyone think Mysterio is lying about the multiverse? I mean, yeah, it's Mysterio, but why would Marvel mention multiverse only for it to be not real?
I don't know. Why in Iron Man 3 would they mention the
Mandarin?
The Mandarin and have it not be real? They've done it. Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% sold on that at all. I'm not. Rob has got that theory, though.
But I could be wrong. By the way, I just want to point out the hot toy of Ben Kingsley from Iron Man 3 comes with an awesome chair.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
He looked so good in that movie.
And that figure, nobody bought that figure, but it's a great Hot Toys figure.
It's a really good. So, no, honestly, just in a quick bullet point summary here, what would be the reasons for you, Rob, like one of the guys who is championing this whole theory that Mysterio's lying about the multiverse? What are some of the quick rationale behind that?
Because he's a liar. He's all about casting illusions and pulling the wool over your eyes. And I think to come up with the idea of a plausible threat or plausible villain or plausible hero, that's the easiest way because it's unverifiable. How do you verify that? You can't call somebody on the phone. Nick Fury doesn't have a pager to whatever Earth he says he's from. So I think it's an easy way and it's a long tradition in comic books and TV and movies where characters come back from places or they just lie where they're from. And
little misdirect going on, little misdirect.
But maybe the fact that it's in the trailer and the fact that we're asking this question even now. But then again, I could be wrong. And it would still be cool if he came from a different Earth.
All right, what's next?
Suthius, Gamora, Uhura, and Neytiri. I love me some Zoe.
Zoe Saldana is a treasure. She's a wonderful actress. She can do great action. She can do comedy. By the way, she is in one of my most underrated films, which is The Losers, with the guy who plays Negan in Walking Dead.
And the comedian.
The comedian, and why am I always forgetting his name?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and of course he's in Supernatural. Chris Evans, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Idris Elba, Zoe Saldana. Not enough people have watched The Losers. I love that movie. You gotta check that out. She's great in that, but she's great in everything. All right.
She's really underrated too. She's a phenomenal performer.
Totally underrated. All right, what's next?
And she's a good dancer.
I didn't know that.
Kian Schingler. Okay, point taken with Sharon Stone. In terms of iconic, how does it compare to the list below? Dance Off and Pulp Fiction, I Am Your Father, Ghosts of Mufasa, Face Off, and A Good, Bad, Ugly, I'll Be Back.
I don't know. No, look, I wasn't saying that the Sharon Stone scene. This is going back to a question from yesterday about iconic sexy scenes, and we said, well, the Sharon Stone scene in Basic Instinct that's just off the chart. I mean, that's by far. If you're going to start comparing it to overall iconic moments, I honestly don't know that I'd rank it all that high. I mean, it's got to be in consideration, but it's not Luke, I Am Your Father. It's not, Soylent Green is you. It's not on that level.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great scene, and as far as sexy scenes go, top notch. Overall, I don't know that it's really in like the top 20 or 30 conversation of the most iconic movie moments, right, Rob?
No, I wouldn't. I wasn't.
And you have the hot toy of this.
It's Enter Bay. No, it's Blitzway.
Okay.
But no, I agree with. I mean, there's so many other movie moments. I thought you were just talking about sex scenes in movies.
Sex scenes. They did. That's the way he put it.
But now we're talking about I'll Be Back. I mean, there's so many iconic moments. There's hundreds of iconic moments in different movies. I mean, there's Betty Davis in one of my favorite movies of all time, All About Eve. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. That's one of the greatest lines in all of cinema history. But our fans here, I don't think many of you, all of you should watch All About Eve, by the way.
All right, what's next?
Another semi-professional. Raptors in 5, John. Will you make it to Jurassic Park? We, the North, P.S. calling it now. We are heading towards Parker Industries' arc in Spider-Man trilogy.
That would be a total betrayal of the storyline of what and who Spider-Man is, so I don't see that at all. I mean, who knows? Anything's possible. Raptors in 5? No. I think the Golden State Warriors are going to pull out a couple of wins. I still think it's going to go right down to the wire. I think it's going to be in 7. And you never know. I might just hop on a plane. There is now direct flights to Hamilton, Ontario, my hometown. There's actually direct flights from Las Vegas to Hamilton. If they go to Game 7, I might take a flight out there, say hi to Mom and Dad, and go to a Jurassic Park and check it out. We'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
JB Bonificio, too many injuries. Warriors still only lost by 10.
No, they actually lost by 14. Well, it doesn't matter. The Warriors they're packed with Hall of Famer and All-Stars. So don't give me this crying excuse, too many injuries. Guess what? They had Klay Thompson in the lineup in Game 1. How'd that turn out? They lost. Guess what? Without Kevin Durant, they won world titles. Without Kevin Durant. So don't give me this. Guess what? Kawhi Leonard is only at about 70% right now, and he's the best player in the series. So don't quit the whining excuses. Just quit the excuses with that stuff. Get that out of here. And they still may win, by the way, because they're that good. But get out of here with the excuses. All right, what's next?
Suthius, Feige will helm the Universal Monsterverse. LOL, JK.
Hey, listen, I've been saying for a long time, at some point creatively, you're looking for a new challenge. And I do think Kevin Feige at some point is going to look for a new challenge to cement him an all-time pantheon of the Greek gods iconic status, as if the MCU shouldn't be enough to do it on its own. I think at some point, I said it before, I'll say it again, he's moving on at some point. I don't know how soon, but he will move on and take over something else and prove that he can do it with other franchises as well. All right, what's next?
Zaya, can we start the Oscar campaign of Lupita in Us, or is it too early?
It's far too early, and she is fantastic in that movie. I believe she will get in there, but then again, it is too early. Most of the true frontrunners for that award have not even had their movies come out yet. So you may be asking about starting the campaign, but you may not even think she deserves a nomination by the time you see 10 or 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 other of the award contenders come out. So, yeah, we just got to pump the brakes on that. But if the awards were held today, she's not just nominated, she's getting the award if it was held today. All right, what's next?
Tom Gillard saw X-Men. The Chastain character and plot sucks, but I found the movie quite good and strong when it needed to be. My friend and I both liked it.
Yeah, I've been hearing from Rob. This is one of the reasons why I'm holding out hope that when I go to see it later tonight, that I might enjoy it myself, because I have been hearing from some people saying, I've been hearing from people saying they thought it was terrible, but I've also been hearing from some people saying, you know what, I enjoyed it. I thought it's certainly not the worst X-Men movie, and even the harshest critics are saying it's not the worst of the X-Men movies. But I'm still holding out some hope. Where's your hope level at? Because I know you're still planning on seeing it.
Yeah.
Where's your hope level at right now for it?
Well, whenever I don't have hope, I go back, I think about Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption.
San Juanejo?
Talking about hope, and I have a little bit of hope, John.
I'm going to hold on to it.
A little bit. Oh, I know I was speaking low there, but I was doing it for dramatic effect.
Yes, it was well
Hope
done.
springs eternal, John. I always want something to be good. I might like it.
All right, what's next?
Justin, the movie nerd. Hi, John. My favorite book and movie of all time happens to be To Kill a Mockingbird. Is there a movie adaptation that you like as much as the book?
Quite frankly, I think most adaptations are better than the book a lot of the times. We were talking, though, earlier about what was the Langdon one again?
The Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci Code is Da
Don't
Vinci
tell
Code, the
people we were talking about that before the show.
It just came up. One that a book adaptation that I really liked. I don't know. I can't remember them. I can't think of it off the top of my head. What about you, Rob?
Oh, there's one. A Clockwork Orange. I think the movie's better than the book. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it. And you don't have to keep flipping back and forth through the glossary when you watch the movie. One
I really want to see turned into a movie, talked about this a lot, is Shogun. Shogun is one I really want to see turned into.
I thought they did a good job with Hunger Games.
The miniseries, dude.
They did do a good job.
The Shogun miniseries is really good.
The miniseries was awesome. It really makes me hunger, though, for a movie. And you're right, the Hunger Games, I actually thought, other than the last book, I thought the Hunger Games movies were better than the books.
And he just said that you like as much as the book. So I really like.
Yeah, I would put that up there. That's a good one. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Willow Yang, do you consider the anniversary a cash grab?
Okay, so we were talking the other day about, look, guys, quit calling movies. Every movie that Hollywood has ever put out is a cash grab. They all get made to make money. That's why they make them. I made a movie called The Anniversary. Was it a cash grab? Well, first of all, my movie is not a Hollywood movie. My movie was not a Hollywood studio movie. And no, it wasn't a cash grab. It was something I always knew would never make money. I had my own ulterior motives, though, for making it. I wanted to, number one, just have the experience of doing it, because everybody says they want to make a movie, and I wanted to go, hell, I don't want to just say I want to do it. I'm going to do it. So I did it. But also because as a film pundit, I wanted to gain a better perspective of what real directors and writers and producers do. I produced, wrote, and directed my own film. And one of my main driving purposes of that was just to get a perspective on there. So when I'm talking about other people who do it, I've got a little bit of a better idea about what it is they're going through. So that was always my main kind of reason for doing it. So no, The Anniversary wasn't, but that's because I always knew that movie was never going to make any money anyway. Although I was lucky that I think I broke even on it. Enough people rented it and stuff like that and bought discs that I think I got lucky and I broke even. But nope, wasn't a cash grab. Wasn't a cash grab because that would have been the dumbest thing ever because it was never going to make any money. All right, what's next?
Suthius, think you'll get back to commentaries with Mr. B?
I'd like to, but I think it would take more than just two people. Like, I've done a lot of these commentaries, and they're fun, but you also need multiple people to do it because there's a lot of dead air time. You need a lot of people who have different possibilities of saying some stuff to keep it going and rolling. Otherwise, it can be kind of boring, but I would like to do at some point. Rob, honestly, I think we should probably do a back-to-back commentary of Infinity War and Endgame.
I would love to do that.
I think we should do that at some point.
We should do it live.
And hey, listen, by the way, Ray just reminded me about this. For you guys who watch the show live, you may have remembered that the last couple of days, we started having some problems in our live chat with a lot of spam being thrown in there, and that's always going to be a problem. But Ray was working on the problem, and we want to give a special shout out to one of our users and one of our viewers, Beatmaster. One of our users, Beatmaster, jumped and started talking with Ray, and they figured out the problem. And if you'll notice, the spam, for the most part, has stopped. The spam has stopped. So we want to give a special a shout out and thank you. First of all, you guys have always helped me out. Like whenever I have a question about something, I'll ask a question and you guys fire me tons of answers and stuff like that. It's always great, but a special shout out and thanks to Beatmaster who helped us out with our live streaming spam problem. Thank you so much, sir. We salute you. And so does Ray. So thanks a lot for that. All right. With that down, what's next?
Alan Valley, have you heard anything about the next Star Trek film? Is the Tarantino thing happening? Would love to see one more film with the Chris Pine cast.
I think the Pine Hemsworth thing is dead. I think that thing is now officially done. It's dead. It looks like their focus right now is on television. That seems to be where all their energy and attention's going. They're having some success. A lot of people are talking about keep bringing it back. A lot of people are very intrigued by the new Picard show.
Me too.
And so that seems to be where they're thinking. I don't think this. Now, Tarantino recently said that his thing isn't dead. He just wants to get, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood done, put out in theaters, and then he's going to revisit it. But I don't think that's going to go anywhere either. So I'm dubious. But the Tarantino thing is still possible, but I think the Pine and Hemsworth one is dead. Rob, do you got any information on that, or do you see any?
No, I mean, look, those three movies were not nearly as profitable as people think they are, especially Star Trek Beyond, or should have been, because they should have been better. But that's just me.
I like them.
But yeah, I would like to see another Star Trek movie in the theaters. I think everybody would, as long as it's good.
All right, what's next?
Suthius, favorite movie vehicle? Mine is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Vehicle's a broad term. Star Destroyer. Star Destroyer is my. Are you kidding? Not only is the ship cool, it carries so many walkers and TIE fighters and troops and all that kind of, like with one Star Destroyer, you can go and take over a planet. It's fabulous. So I know that's probably outside of what you were thinking, but vehicle is a large term thing. What about you, Rob?
The submarine car, the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me. Or, of course, the DeLorean Back to the Future, because I'd love to travel through time.
That's a great one, too, obviously. You got one, Ashley?
No, I was going to say the DeLorean. Yeah.
Of course, the DeLorean.
Of course.
All right, what's next?
Kian Shingler, also in time with that same list of iconic scenes. Do you think the Captain America scene where he stands against Thanos' army on his own has the potential to be in that same list?
No, it doesn't. It won't be. For me, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shot. That shot, and by the way, thank you to all of you guys who have been sending me links of where I can actually buy prints of that wide shot of Captain America standing alone against Thanos and all of his armies. for me, it's one of the great iconic moments. But honestly, I don't think like 3 years from now, when like most iconic scenes, conversations are held amongst cinephiles, I honestly don't think it's going to be in that conversation. But for me, it will be. I don't know, Rob, do you see it differently? Do you think maybe it will?
No, because, I really think iconic scenes have to come along with lines of dialogue. It's like the "I'll be back." I mean, it's an actor delivering a line. That to me is what makes something really iconic.
I agree. That's actually a really good observation. All right, what's next?
Anthony R. Django and Zorro on the Enterprise. Make it so.
So, like, hey, Tarantino was just talking about. They're talking about that Tarantino may be interested in doing a Django and Zorro team up sequel to Django Unchained, which would be great. He is also working on a Star Trek. Maybe his whole plan is to have Django and Zorro on the Enterprise, Rob. Come on, tell me we wouldn't be there to watch that.
Antonio Banderas is a Romulan commander and Jamie Foxx is a Starship commander. I'm in.
No, they got to be Django and Zorro.
They could be called Django and Zorro just in the future.
All right, what's next?
Suthius, over under 70% Star Trek films to be rebooted in 10 years.
I say yes, but 70 is a big number. So I'm going to take the under on 70, even though I think it will. But I'll take the under on 70. Rob?
I'm going to go over. I think it will.
Yeah. All right. All right, what's next?
Christopher Mason, I read online that I'm playing Jean Grey in the new MCU reboot, followed... The source turns out that it is a lie. Damn, these rumor sources got me again.
Yeah, that's the thing, guys. I always say, no matter how many websites are running a headline, follow the source to see where they're all... Because a lot of times what you'll see is a lot of websites will run the same headline, and then when you read, it's like, oh, they're all getting this information from the same place, and it's some 32-reader blog that still exists on MySpace or something like that. It's like, always follow the source, guys. Always follow the source. All right, what's next?
Sujeeth, hey, John and Rob, just watched a video titled Star Wars in the style of Robotech. The theme with TIE Fighter engine screams pure harmony gold, LOL.
Yeah, that one actually came out years ago. But it's basically, for those who don't know what it is, it's basically an animated Robotech style, and it kind of looks at it from the point of view of TIE Fighter pilots as opposed... It's really cool.
Really cool.
If you haven't checked it out, take Sujeeth's advice, jump on there, and see what you can find. All right, what's next?
David Lennon, hype for Hot Tub High School. John.
Okay, I think I could be wrong about that. I think I know what it is. I might be wrong. Rob, do you have any idea what that is?
I don't know, but I would love to have gone to a Hot Tub High School.
I think that's a reference to the movie that the detective character Chloe in Lucifer was in when she was younger. I think that was Hot Tub High School. I could be wrong about that.
Again, I want to go.
It was like a Hot Tub Time Machine
by
reference.
The way, Hot Tub Time Machine, very underrated comedy. Hot Tub Time Machine 2, not so much. All right, what's next?
Zachary Buckler, Wisdom Teeth Recovery, Day 1. John Carter, predictable but good. Hurt Locker, wow. Great drama, great tension. Next up, Dark Crystal and Schindler's List. First time watching for all of these movies.
First of all, it is a miserable life experience having wisdom teeth removed. It doesn't matter what age you're at. It doesn't matter. It is a miserable experience. Even with the best of dentists, it's a miserable experience. And the recovery can really suck too. So the fact that you get to hang tight, watch these movies, good on you. I hope your recovery goes really, really well, dude. Those are some good ones. And I wish you liked John Carter more, but hey, at least you liked it in general. So speedy, healthy, drama-free recovery for you and your wisdom teeth being pulled out, Zachary. Hang in there.
And make a necklace of your teeth, and wear them all summer long.
The biggest badass in your school. All right, guys, listen. We have hit an hour and a half mark. We're going to keep the show going. I'm going to keep answering, but I don't like to keep Rob and Ashley around too awful long after that. So we're going to say goodbye to Rob and Ashley at this point. Rob, thank you for being here, dude, and sharing your sage-like wisdom in all things. Where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, find me on Instagram at RMBurnett, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Works. Subscribe and like.
And also, of course, and this is a bit of a bigger one, is not because Rob is small, not at all, but Ashley Whalen. Ashley, thank you for being here, not just right now, but the contributions and everything you've made for the last... 5-6 months since we first met with you wearing that that Office T-shirt, that Dunder Mifflin
Yes.
T-shirt. So you've got something to say here?
Yeah, I'm actually signing off for good, guys. I just really appreciate all the support you guys have given me through my Instagram and Twitter and all the messages and comments. It's been great getting to know some of you. But I'm signing off for the last time. I might pop in once in a while for like a guest spot or maybe later on.
Last time. Let's not say last time.
Don't be like Sean Connery as James Bond.
Yeah, it's just been a little hard to coordinate our schedules with auditioning and everything like that. But I am around. You guys can still reach out to me, and who knows, I will probably pop back on the show once in a while, but it's not going to be as consistent. But I just wanted to say thank you for all your support, and have a great weekend.
Maybe we can get you to your first Comic-Con.
Maybe.
I get badges I can give away to people. Just something to keep in mind.
Hell yeah.
Just something to keep in mind. Well, it has been awesome having you here. We will look forward to when we can have you back on again, and continued success to you with all your commercials. And we're sure pretty soon Brie Larson's going to miss out on a big new movie because you got the role. And
watch out, Brie. Yeah,
we'll be looking forward to watching your progress and all that. So thank you a lot for that.
Of course.
And guys, make sure you follow her on her social media stuff and continue to send her your support and all that kind of stuff. It would be greatly appreciated if you did.
Yes.
Okay. With all that down out of the way now, guys, let's continue on taking the live questions, and we're going to start things off and keep things going here. I still have the camera on Ashley, though. That's the thing. There we go. All right.
An empty chair.
The empty chair is so symbolic. All right, let's keep things rolling here, guys. The next one comes to us from Kevin Lewis, who writes, Solomon Grundy in Gotham, how about the DCEU? I don't remember. Was he in? Because I never did see the last season of Gotham. I kind of tapped out on the show myself, so I didn't see it. You could totally bring him into the DCU at some point. He's a character that could be used and leveraged in a lot of different ways. And maybe it's a possibility someday. Tyler Van writes, would you ever want to travel to Australia? I've always wanted to travel to Australia. It's just really expensive to get there, really expensive to be there, and it's a hell of a long flight, and I do not like flying, but I hope I get out there sometime because I've always wanted to visit. Suthius writes, the pen that I hold in my hand is Royal Blue. Yeah, it's probably one I should know, Suthius, but it's not one I can pull off the top of my head. Taki75 writes, poor Cull Obsidian. First Cap hits him with Mjolnir, then Korg and Drax team him, then Iron Man shoots him, and finally he gets stomped by Ant-Man. Yeah, he had a rough go of it, dude. He had a really rough go of it in Endgame. Absolutely he did. I can't think of a good username writes, did you see the backlash for the look of Pumbaa in the new Lion King? No, I did not. Why would there? He looks perfect. I can tell you, I can't think of it. Well, first of all, everything has somebody backlashing against it. Everybody does. They could do a story about, I don't know, a nun traveling to Europe to feed a hungry child, and there will be somebody online to do a backlash about it. So no, I have not seen the backlash about it personally. I think the look is almost, I don't know, what were they hoping for? I thought it looked perfect. Anyway, KW Garrett 83 writes, I don't watch Game of Thrones, but my dad did something terrible. He watched season 8 of Game of Thrones without ever having seen the previous 7 seasons. So wrong, you know, I don't know. I mean, it depends. There are shows you can jump in, but yeah, man, that is one. I don't think if you're going to jump onto a show, I don't think you always have to start from the beginning. Hell, Supernatural, I didn't start it from the beginning. I jumped back and watched the previous stuff, but I was able to jump on board, and I think you can do that with shows. But I think what my advice to your dad would have been, KW, is Game of Thrones is probably one of those shows where you might want to start that one from the beginning. So I might be with you on that one. Kevin Lewis writes, most likely next story arc, Secret Wars, Planet/World War Hulk, Secret Invasion. I don't think any. And remember, the ones they have done have been very loosely based on the stuff like Civil War, for example. Very different from the Civil War comic book. Radically different than the Civil War comic book. Even the Infinity stuff has been quite different from the comic book. So I don't know. Secret Wars is definitely one that people have been mentioning about. I would love World War Hulk. I would love World War Hulk, but I don't think they're ever going to give it to us because of the stuff going on with Universal. Roman Bryant writes, even after all these, I think you meant amazing comic book movies, Spider-Man 2 is still my favorite. Hey, listen, seriously, I thought Spider-Man 2 for a long time was maybe the greatest comic book movie ever made. Spider-Man 2 is great. And you guys remember a number of months ago, I did my top 10 comic book movies of all time. I still have Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi one. I still have not the amazing Spider-Man, but Spider-Man 2. I still have in my top 10 greatest comic book movies of all time. It's a fabulous movie, dude. Jim Jam Baru writes, what biopic about the entertainment industry do you want most? For me, it's how Pink Floyd made The Wall and the tension between Roger Waters and the band. You know, I've been saying for a while, Jim Jam, I'm actually not all that interested in musical biopics, even though I've just watched a couple that I really like, Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocket Man. But I generally think there are much more interesting people in the world who've done much more important things than musicians. And I say that as somebody who was an aspiring musician. I just think there are people who've made much bigger differences in the world and done more important things than musicians. So I really don't have any off the top of my head. I really don't. There's so much drama surrounding Pink Floyd that there could be some good stories there to tell. So that one might be interesting, Jim. All right, Toonie2 writes, I hate when people act like trolls. Sometimes I realize I act like a troll too, but thanks to you, it gets better. You're my Yoda man. Hey, listen, seriously, there is nothing more annoying than weak little bitch trolls online. But we have to acknowledge that we all act like that sometimes. I mean, we can't point the finger at any one group of people and say, they're the trolls. The fact of the matter is we all engage in troll behavior. We do. It's just that the only difference between somebody that we call a troll and us is that we feel justified in trolling the stuff we troll. Right? Like I remember me and Rob has told this story himself, so I'll just retell the story. I remember like Rob, it basically is a troll for Star Trek Discovery. And I remember I wrote to him once because he was just tweeting incessantly about how much Discovery sucks and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. I said, Rob, you know, you're kind of acting in a way that is the same. I mean, you don't like the show and you express it. That's cool. But you're constantly online bashing it all the time. Like, you're kind of acting like the people we're calling out a lot. And I've done the same thing in the past too. And when I don't catch myself, I still do it once in a while. And then I watch my show later and I go, oh, that was a little trolly of me. I shouldn't have said that. Like, we all do it. Nobody has cornered the market on being trolls. We all do it, and we all got to acknowledge it. We all do it from time to time. And that's how we start to stop trolling, is when we stop ourselves from doing it. Because, hey, I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. All film fans are guilty of it to some degree or another. Okay, JB Bonifacio writes, a Marvel producer recently said that the X-Men name is outdated, to which I see their point, but what would be more appropriate? X-People? I don't know. X-Men or X-Men? To me, men in X-Men is a gender-neutral term. I mean, it has to be, because right from the inception of X-Men, there was a female member of the X-Men, right? I've always seen X-Men as a gender-neutral term. So that's just how I see it. So I don't think it's outdated, but that's just my opinion on that. I can't think of a good username watch. Oh, no, sorry. Toonie2 writes, I would love to see Brie as Ahsoka, but I don't think it will happen at this point. Hopefully not as a TV show. I don't watch TV shows. Well, I think if it's going to happen anywhere, it probably would be on Disney+. It probably would. That's my guess. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think there were just a lot of convenient circumstances that happened to line up with each other that became a very fertile ground for a rumor like this to come out, but I don't think there's any legitimacy to it. So nothing to worry about either way, Toonie. I can't think of a good username writes, in Far From Home, the ghost of Tony tells Peter to find Fury to complete his training. Yeah, if you want to get a little bit more Star Warsy, just do that. Have him part of seek out Nick Fury. That would be kind of funny. All right. Benny95 writes, hey, John. So I guess if these what if movie concepts get made, they'll need a question at the end for you to approve. Go and see the film, eh? Just kidding. Yeah. First of all, you know, with the Joker what if movie, and there's even a series on Netflix now called What If. A lot of people have been talking about these. And, you know, particularly surrounding the Joker movie. And, you know, what could it mean if the Joker movie is a big success? And that's a big if. But if it is, you know, could that, a lot of people have been asking, we've been talking about lately, could that open the doors for this? And could it open the doors for like a Red Sun? And I think the answer to that question is yes. I think if the Joker comes out, crushes it as a standalone, single shot, what if movie, I think it will open the door, not just for Warner Brothers, but maybe even for Marvel to investigate those things. Just really good standalone one-shot only movies that take place in a what-if scenario. I think they could work. Let's see what happens. First, we got to see if Joker actually succeeds or not. Dan M. writes, watch the new Godzilla. I've got John's point of view. At the same time, I also got Rob's point of view. For me, it's an okay movie. Love the monsters. Our point of view, Ashley, if seen. Ashley hasn't seen it, and unfortunately, she's not here anymore. But Ashley hasn't seen it, I know that. Yeah, I agree. When the monsters are on screen in Godzilla, I was eating it up. The problem is the majority of the movie is not on the monsters, and everything that's not on the monsters, in my opinion, was terrible. So does it mean, in my opinion, is Godzilla a garbage movie? No, not at all. I just didn't think it was very good. And I was hoping for great, because you guys know how excited I was about that one. Phi Nguyen writes, showed my 13-year-old son Dark Knight, and he thought it was boring. Is he grounded? More realistic? Is the grounded, more realistic comic book movie becoming out of date and obsolete? Oh, not at all. Not at all. Look, do you think here's the thing, Phi, do you think your son is the first person to ever think The Dark Knight was boring? It may sound weird, but no, there are people who do not like The Dark Knight. All film is subjective, my friends. That means there can be one of the greatest comic book films of all time, and there are going to be people that don't like it. And if your son doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. But no, if anything, I think we need more of a return. Like the popularity of Daredevil, which tries to stay a little bit more gritty, a little bit more realistic focused. Look at the popularity of that. You know, the pop culture just loved it. So, no, just because your son doesn't like one movie, don't worry about it. He just didn't like that one. Not all films are for everybody. I wouldn't sweat it, dude. All right, Benny95 writes, where are we at? When people send in what if, they are just throwing concepts and ideas, wanting your thought on that idea and not necessarily be a question. Example, like what if a TV show with Captain America has a Hydra agent or a red sun? Does that need a question too? No, it's just cool, interesting. No, it's not, because here's the thing. If you just like the answer to what if a Captain America movie has a Hydra agent happens, then a Captain America movie with a Hydra agent happens. That's the answer to the question. I mean, you got to put in, here's what I always tell people, Benny. When you're writing in a what if question, take out the word what, and then you'll realize that you have to put a question at the end. So if you take out the what if and what you just said, and you said, if a TV show with Captain America as a Hydra agent or Red Sun, now you realize, oh yeah, that's a ridiculous thing on its own. You have to have a follow-up statement to that. So just take out that word what, and you realize that. So if Captain America has as a Hydra or Red Sun, could, then you actually put in the question. And hey, kudos to my viewers, because my viewers have caught on that, and I hardly ever now get those what if questions. And when you do send in what if questions, you guys are on the ball now. You're actually including a question in it, which is great. Otherwise, you're just saying, here's a scenario. Okay, there's a scenario. What? You know, you got to make sure you include a question, and you guys have been doing it, and you've made life a lot easier for me. So I appreciate that very much. Dan M. writes, John, do you have any insider info about Lucifer Season 5? None. I really hope they do it, though. Tyler Yeats writes, love y'all, seeing Rocket Man tonight. I enjoyed it. You know, my wife didn't like it all that much, but I enjoyed it. Not as good as a Bohemian Rhapsody or anything like that, but I thought it was a pretty entertaining movie. Jason Dolan writes, on way to Galaxy's Edge with your bro Kyle Newman today. Really? Oh, that's kind of cool. And you know what? Kyle Newman is actually, I mentioned, I'll do a more official announcement on this later, but I mentioned that Christian Harloff is going to be on my panel at Comic-Con this year. Kyle Newman is also going to be on my panel at Comic-Con this year, but I'll do more of a full, and there are other people on it as well. I'll make those announcements later. Yes, somebody who called themselves Collider Videos. Yo, remember not to mention Galaxy's Edge, okay? There you go. I think Christian's been getting too hard of a time for that. All right, anyway, Josie C. Diaz writes, how you feel about the schedule for Crisis on CW? I don't really know the schedule. I haven't been paying close attention to it, so I really don't. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. But I really don't know much about the schedule for it at this point. Don Beto writes, the prodigal, my son returns. Don't know that one, sorry. Randall Guzik writes, your thoughts on Swamp Thing's cancellation and Kindberg's Reasoning for Logan not being in Dark Phoenix. Age difference and the so-called Jean Logan love story from the comics that didn't exist. I have no idea what you're talking about here. As far as my thoughts on Swamp Thing goes, we talked about that right off the top of the show. That was our main thing that we talked about. I don't get it. Like, how do you cancel a show after it's been on for one episode? Not season 5, episode 1, not season 3, episode 1, but the first ever episode, and you cancel it. And clearly they had made the decision to cancel it much earlier, because we talked about the story about them killing off the final 3 episodes and not even letting them shoot the final 3 episodes. I mean, this has clearly been a mess. And I don't know what's behind it. At some point, we're going to find out. Somebody's going to break a story at some point about what mess has gone on behind the scene to bring us to this, where a show is getting canceled after one episode. I just don't get it. It just seems like there's something really messy, Randall. Something really messy behind the scenes on this. We'll have to find out what it is. All right. Anthony Luculano writes, wonderful. I once led armies, and now I'm paired with a scruffy Philistine and a talking dog. Again, I can't pull it off the top of my head. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Then we got a big jump. Hold on a second. All right. Devontae Brown writes, Swamp Thing just canceled. I know. What the hell is going on with that, Devontae? All right. Spring Fox writes, have you seen When They See Us on Netflix? Thanks. Yes, I did. Powerful stuff. I thought it was very, very good. It's not Chernobyl to me, but I thought it was very, very good. But I did finally get around to watching that. Ava DuVernay did a great job. Devontae Brown writes, thoughts on Blacklist season 6 as a whole, the finale, and the reveal of Reddington's identity. I don't think they did. They didn't reveal Reddington's identity. Did they? I mean, I watched the whole thing. I watched the fight. He comes out of prison at the end. I like this season. I thought this last season was better than the previous season. I thought this season was actually quite good, but I don't think they did reveal Reddington's identity, did they? Anyway, Magic K writes, DC officially skips San Diego Comic-Con this year. Are they going to make their own version of D23? I haven't heard anything. It would probably be a pretty smart idea for them to do it. But look, as we discussed earlier, I get it. I understand all the problems and the headaches of going to a Comic-Con like that. I just thought there was a missed opportunity here. I thought there was a big opportunity for them to really hold the spotlight as the eyes of the world are on San Diego and Comic-Con. I thought they could have owned it. I think it's a missed opportunity. I'm Upset writes, do you see Sinister Six working well in the MCU or Venom? No, I don't. I think it's a concept that doesn't work on the big screen personally. Eric Huffman writes, where are we at here? Eric Huffman writes, if an actor is in a film and doesn't return for the sequel, but does appear in a flashback, do they get paid for the appearance? It's all about what's in the contract. It's all about what's in the contract. You could put in a contract, the studio and the agent could agree in a contract that, hey, you'll only appear in the one, but we retain the rights to use footage from the movie you shot in future installments as flashbacks. That could be in there. Or they could put in the contract, if you do that, you have to pay us a little bit of this, that, and the other. So it all depends on the individual contract and what they negotiate. Derek Chu, it's like Rob always says, it's not about what you deserve, it's about what you negotiate. Derek Chu sends in a super chat. Thank you, Derek. James Argenta writes, Swamp Thing got canceled because DC filled out tax rebate application wrong and the show went over budget apparently. I still don't see that as a reason that you cancel a show. If a show went over budget, you deal with it and you fix the problem. If that's true, James, I believe that situation happened, but I cannot believe that would be the basis for canceling a show after one episode. If it is, then there's something really dysfunctional over there. Clark Kevin writes, first super chat, thank you, Clark. Longtime viewer, guys, where's the Black Widow trailer? It comes out next summer, or so I am freaking out. Should we be worried? Clark is referencing one of the funniest things that I just get a kick out of all the time. It's like, people just think trailers should come out 18 years before the movie comes out. It's like, John, where's the trailer for this? Should we be worried? Number one, the movie doesn't come out for 7 months. Why be worried? Number two, why does a trailer not being out be a cause for worry? a trailer coming out early doesn't mean the movie's good. A trailer coming out late doesn't mean the movie's bad. So there's nothing right. And it's one of the things we laugh at a lot around here. So Clark, thank you for sending that in, man. All right. Speedfire writes, would you like to see a great Doctor? Let's try this again. Would you like to see a great Doctor Who movie? If you did, would it interest on watching the fabulous TV show going 56 years? Come on, England tonight. I want to see a great anything movie. I want to see a great anything movie. I just like great movies. Whether they're great movies about snails, if it's a great movie, it's a great movie. If it's a great Marvel movie, doesn't matter. A great movie is a great movie. Would it interest, if I saw a great Doctor Who movie, would it interest me in watching the show? Because I don't watch Doctor Who. I don't think it's bad. I've just never watched it. That's all. I gotta admit, probably would. If I saw a great Doctor Who movie, it might spur me to start watching Doctor Who. It might. All right. Kenny Kern sends in a really big super chat. Thank you for that, Kenny, and supporting the channel on that level, man. I appreciate that. Kenny writes, hey, John, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, dude. And the year Man of Steel was coming out, I got a super poster book, birthday cake, and then went out and saw it. That's awesome. Luckily, I loved it and is my favorite comic book movie of all time. Did the same thing this year for Brightburn. Dude, you got a little bit of a Superman theme going on there. First of all, I'm glad that you have joined the Club of the Few. We are a club of the few, Kenny. Those of us who understand the genius of Man of Steel. Not a lot of people belong to the Club of the Few, but we few are proud to be in the club of those who recognize the genius of Man of Steel. It's amazing. I'm glad you had that. And it's pretty ironic that you got to then celebrate the same way with a Superman kind of spin-off, Elseworld kind of idea with Brightburn. Again, a movie I wish I liked better, but whatever. But anyway, Kenny, happy birthday to you, man. I hope you have a great birthday, and I hope the year ahead is a prosperous one for you, dude. Thanks for writing in, and have a great birthday. All right. Let's move on here. We still got a few minutes left. Damian Davies writes, I will be attending a screening of Saving Private Ryan today for the 75th commemoration of D-Day. Utterly horrific. That was what was sacrificed for us. Respect. Dude, I'll tell you what. First of all, the fact that they're playing it on the big screen somewhere is awesome. That's great. If you ever doubt, because I like to use the word horrific in there. If you ever want to doubt that war sucks, watch the opening of Saving Private Ryan. That opening, it's not gratuitous at all. It's sobering and horrific and disturbing, and it will break your foundations. If you've never seen Saving Private Ryan, the opening of that film will just shake you to your core, and you will never want to go to war. And I think it's just phenomenal in that. And the fact that you get to go and watch that on the big screen like that on a day like today, Damien, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Chelifer just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Chelifer. Droscher writes, saw Dark Phoenix and I liked it. Better than X-Men Apocalypse. Well, I hope it's better than X-Men Apocalypse. By the way, guys, I'm going to turn on the AC because it's Southern California. It's starting to get warm in here. So I'm going to turn on the AC. Forgive the background noise that my air conditioner creates. I hope it's better than X-Men Apocalypse. I hope it's not worse than that, but I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it. Like I said, I've been hearing from a couple of people that they actually liked X-Men Dark Phoenix. I'm hearing from a bunch of people that they don't, but it's nice hearing from a few people that do, because I love the X-Men franchise. I didn't love X-Men Apocalypse. I'm going to go see it tonight. I'm going to keep hope alive. All right. Belgarath 482 writes, Swamp Thing canceled already? Not popular enough. 1 week. I got to find out what the drama going is behind there. Father of a Legend writes, that's a great username. Hey guys, love the show. Thank you so much. Helps me get through the stressful time building the new Vegas Raider Stadium. Oh my God, I was just in Vegas, and as I was driving into town, looking at that stadium under construction, it looks glorious. You know, I'll be going to some games there. If you're working on that, dude, that's awesome. I'm always in awe when I drive by Vegas and I see that thing being constructed. It just looks unbelievable. So best of luck to you on that, man. Be safe building it. I can't wait to go and visit it. And thanks for sharing that, man. And I'm glad we can be along with you for the day. All right. Jeff DiNatale writes, hey, John, big fan since the Man of Steel days. Thank you so much, Jeff. Keep up the great work. With that said, LGB, for those of you who don't know, for those that know, they know. For those that don't, Let's go Blues. Bruins, who you got? I'm still picking the Bruins. But it's really good to see the Blues make a series out of this, because I'll tell you what, after game 1, it looked like it was going to be a landslide. But they've made this a series. They've made this a legit series. So I'm still thinking the Bruins are going to win it, but it'd be neat. Like, you know who my favorite goaltender for a long time was? If you're a Blues fan, you'll know this name. Mike Liut. Mike Liut was my favorite goaltender for a long time when I was a kid. And how's that for a blast from the St. Louis past? All right. Draco Aris just sends a super chat. Thank you, Draco. Bradley Kosa writes, what's up with Killers of the Flower Moon movie? I don't know anything about it, Bradley, to be honest with you. Hoser Miaz writes, why is WB canceling Swamp Thing? Your guess is as good as mine, brother. Shinigami I writes, shouldn't Ahsoka be played by an Indian actor? Why would she be? She's not Indian. She's an alien species that is currently voiced by a Caucasian white girl. So I'm not sure, unless you know it, that Ahsoka sounds like an Indian name, but not necessarily. I mean, who cares who plays her? Garrett Cooch, because I don't really like the character. Garrett Cooch writes, good season of The Flash, but Chris Klein clearly missed subtlety and nuance. Day in acting class. Wolf, yeah, Flash, I'm gonna get a Diet Pepsi. And if you're still here when I get back, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, look, I've seen Chris Klein be very good in some things, so I doubt that was Chris Klein. I'm guessing that was probably more of a director's decision or a showrunner's decision. Because remember, this is the same show that has Reverse Flash talk like this. You know, Flash, you and me have a history. So, I mean, that show has a history of having their villains talk really weird. So I have a feeling it probably wasn't Chris Klein's fault. Because, yes, I'm talking like this. Confounding, but I don't blame the actors, because clearly that's how the showrunners get their villains to do their voices for some reason. Okay. Where are we at here? Rodrigo Trinidad writes, hey everyone, have you seen the show What We Do in the Shadows? Beanie Fieldstein is fantastic in it. Can't wait to see her books in Booksmart this Friday. Booksmart is my favorite movie of the year right now. And I didn't even think the movie looked any good. I thought it looked all right. I mean, the trailers were okay, but I was not impressed by the trailers all that much. And I decided to pass on it. And then a bunch of you guys started writing me saying, John, you really need to see Booksmart. I'm like, all right. So I go off the other night to watch it, and I came out, it's like, holy crap, it's my favorite film of the year. And it is, as of right now. As of now, Booksmart to me is the best movie of the year. It's crazy. Haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows yet. Anne has, she loves it. I want to watch it because I love the movie, so just haven't started watching the series yet. Vashino Zin writes, if Thanos snapped to wipe out half the universe, why did Stark snap wiped out only Thanos and his army? Because it's not that a snap wipes out half people in the universe. You can do whatever you want to do with all the Infinity Stones. You can alter reality any way you want. Because remember when Hulk snapped, they said, remember, just focus on bringing back those we lost in the snap. And nobody else, and don't take out anybody else, just focus on that. Hulk snapping didn't wipe out anybody. It brought people back. It's what it is you're focusing on, and you're doing whatever it is you want to do. It's not just that, oh, if you put together the Infinity Gauntlet and then snap your fingers, it wipes out half of existence. No. It's that's what Thanos wanted done. Thanos had the gauntlet, wanted to wipe out half of existence, snapped his fingers, half of existence wipes out. Tony wanted to wipe out Thanos and his legions, so he snaps his fingers and it wiped out Thanos and his legions. So that's why. ZOMG Ruler writes, Captain Marvel made $1 billion because of Endgame hype. Then why didn't Ant-Man make $1 billion? Don't give me these excuses. Don't give me these excuses. It did not make $1 billion because of Endgame hype. If that had anything to do with it, then Ant-Man coming off of this huge Avengers Infinity War movie, it would have been $1 billion movie. But it wasn't, was it? So don't get these excuses out of here. It's not, get that out of here. Phoenix Arising sends in a super chat. Thank you for that. Rusky9110 writes, Doesn't Disney have a rule about actors crossing franchises? Rumor was Hamill supposedly wanted in the MCU, but Disney said no because of Star Wars. I don't believe that for a second. No, I don't believe that's true at all. I don't believe there's any validity to that. I mean, it might be true, but I have never seen anything that suggests that is actually the case. And I don't think they would have a dumb rule like that. Like if you're good for a movie in one franchise, why wouldn't you want to use them in another one? I don't see any validity to that. Kyle Miles sends a super chat. Thank you, Kyle. All in Avir writes, so sad people decided to hate Brie. Will that end? As long as there are stupid people in the world, stupid people will do stupid things. So random. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you just don't think Brie Larson's a good actress, then you're entitled to that. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're one of these insecure little fragile males who's like, wait a minute, she said that they shouldn't just be white journalists that cover movies. That threatens my fragile little masculinity that I can't deal with. I mean, there's always going to be those people. There are people out there who just don't like Brie Larson as an actress because they don't think she's a good actress. Nothing wrong with that. There are people that there are actors that others think are really good actors that I don't think are good actors. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, there's a bunch of people out there who just really insecure man babies who are threatened by the notion that a woman didn't remember her place and dared suggest that maybe we should let some non-white men in to cover these movies too. And then they freaked out about it, and it is what it is. So Random writes, Chernobyl finale, first 10-star episode on IMDb ever. Yeah, well, IMDb is irrelevant. The user ratings are irrelevant. People can fake stuff, whatever. But, oh my God, Chernobyl's so good. Chernobyl is so good. It's almost staggering how good that movie, that show is. It's, you know, every once in a while you need to see storytelling like that to be reminded that that level of storytelling can be done in TV shows and movies, and it's just phenomenal. Randall Guzik writes, do you see any non-Disney movie / association with Disney, i.e. Spider-Man, this summer making over $100 million in its opening weekend? Based on the current release schedule, I don't. Well, I don't know the current release schedule off the top of my head. Let me just double check something here. I'll go to Box Office Mojo. Let's bring up the release schedule. So, Dark Phoenix won't. Secret Life of Pets might, but I don't think it will. Men in Black International, I doubt it. Shaft won't. Anna won't. Child's Play won't. Toy Story 4 is a Disney one. Wild Rose won't. Yesterday won't. Annabelle won't. Spider-Man, but that's associated with the MCU. Midsommar won't. Crawl won't. Stuber won't. Let's see what else here. There was Crawl, Stuber. Lion King is a Disney one. The Boy won't. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won't. Fast and the Furious. There we go. Fast and the Furious. That is a non-Disney associated movie that I do believe that movie can open to $100 million. I'm not guaranteeing it will, but that is definitely one that can open to over $100 million. So I won't go through the rest of them. So the answer to your question is yes, I do think there's at least one non-Disney associated movie that can open to $100 million or more this summer. So there's at least one of them. All right. Just Movie Edits just writes, hey, Jar. I don't know what Jar is, but sends that in. Thank you, Just. Demetrius Dinda writes, hey, John, fan since AMC. Thank you so much, Demetrius. When do you think The Abyss and True Lies will be available in 4K or at least Blu-ray or even streaming at least? It's like the only movies I've been looking forward to owning. Are you telling me that you can't go on Google Play and watch True Lies or The Abyss? Or are you saying they don't offer them in streaming in 4K? Because I know for a fact you can watch True Lies in The Abyss, but maybe not in 4K. I don't know. I don't know what the holdup is. To be honest with you, I'm not really a 4K guy. I mean, I've got a 4K TV, but it's really, unless you're sitting at the right distance, your eye can't perceive the difference between 2K and 4K. So I mean, it's all about distance from you and your TV. So I don't really care much about 4K, so I'm not keeping an eye on that very much. But I got to imagine it'll happen at some point. Like, I know Rob is talking about that quite a bit. So you got to imagine at some point, maybe even, we talked about this the other day because McGee was saying that he's going to be working on a True Lies TV series for Disney Plus, right? wouldn't it be a good piece of additional marketing and buzz to release the original True Lies in 4K? Wouldn't that be a good little piece of awareness as well for a potential upcoming TV show? Maybe. So I got to imagine soon. At least I hope so. Gino Hendricks sends in a super chat. Thank you, Gino. Draco Eris writes, The Lion King 1994 turns 25 years old later this month. Amazing. I will be celebrating by watching all 5 cartoon films. The remake is my most highly anticipated film of 2019. You're not alone, man. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of casual film fans out there that Lion King is probably their most anticipated film of the year. There's a lot. I think it's going to be spectacular. The source material is great. It's being directed by Jon Favreau, who just did The Jungle Book, and he did such a great job with Jungle Book. Now, I will admit, I've only ever watched one of the animated sequels of Lion King, and I thought it was pretty bad, so I didn't even know there were 5 other animated follow-ups. I didn't even know. So I probably never will watch those. But believe me, Draco, you are not alone in this. People are looking forward to seeing this movie. It's probably going to be the number 2 biggest box office film of the year. I think it's going to be bigger than Star Wars 9. I think it's going to be bigger than Toy Story. I think it's going to be bigger than anything other than Avengers Endgame. I think it's going to be the second biggest film of the year. MZod780 writes, one of 2. John, do you know why Dark Phoenix is failing? Where are we at here? Not because it's just a bad movie. No. Apparently it's because people are getting tired of Hollywood's virtue signaling and politics. What? Oh, that's idiotic. That's just stupid idiotic. Somebody explain to me why Captain Marvel made over $1 billion? Yeah, no, it's just, that's just idiotic, MZod, which clearly you know too. So yeah, that's just stupid. Gino Hendricks writes, Dear John, saw Godfather for the first time. Nice. I'll never be able to do that again. I always get a little bit happy when I hear that some film fan has watched one of the great all-time movies for the first time. That's awesome. I'm glad you got a chance to do that, Gino. Sujith writes, Centurions is a very popular 80s cartoon. Man and machine, power extreme. I'm surprised you've not heard about it. Maybe I did and I've just forgotten about it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, to be honest with you. David Lillian writes, Lucifer is spreading like wildfire amongst my school and in general. How do you feel that this amazing show is getting more and more attention from fans? Very happy. Because for a long time, I felt like Lucifer was my little secret. It's like, hey man, you watching Lucifer? No. Okay, you watching Lucifer? No. It's like nobody was watching Lucifer. And I love this show so much, and I was so happy when Netflix saved it. I thought their new season 4, was great. I thought that they did a great job with it. And here's hoping that wave of momentum keeps going, David, because I want to see season 5, dude. I really want to see season 5. Keep being an evangelist for it. All right. Jubalera writes, with Pattinson replacing Batfleck, will he cross over with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, and the rest of the DCU, and how would that even work? Could they go the X-Men route, not caring about continuity? That is something we've been talking about on the show for the last couple of days, and we brought this up quite a bit. That's the big question right now. Look, there are a lot of rumors, but there's been nothing substantive saying this movie takes place in the early 2000s. There's nothing that substantive has said this movie takes place in modern day. There's nothing saying, there have been rumors that it's a soft reboot. There are rumors saying it's a total reboot of the character. Some are saying that the Pattinson will take place outside of the DCEU. Again, there's a rumor for every possibility, but I haven't seen anything that definitively states from an official source that this is what's happening. So I really don't know. If I had to guess, and this is just pure fan speculation guessing, if I had to guess, my guess would be that they will just take the continuity schmontinuity approach like the X-Men did and just say, this is our Batman now. This 30-year-old Batman who's been around for a couple of years, that's our Batman now. And then some people go, wait a minute, I thought it was an older Ben Affleck Batman. And then we'll just get over it. But that, Jubilera, is the billion-dollar question that everybody's been asking lately. Miguel writes, having seen Endgame about 20 times in theaters and in every format, I preferred IMAX over all of them. What do you think about the petition to get Endgame in Blu-ray IMAX version? I don't really care. My favorite version of it was the Dolby Prime projection. I really don't care about the IMAX dimensions. I really don't. You really aren't really missing anything from the little that they do take out. And when they shoot these movies, they make sure there's nothing important information on that. So honestly, I think they wouldn't make their money back. I think making that version of it would not, the expense of doing it, I don't think they'd make their money back. So look, if you're somebody who prefers it, that's great. That's awesome. All I can say is that I'm not there with you because I don't really care. And I really don't think it would probably make much financial sense for them to do it. But hey, if you want it, I hope they do it just so you guys can be happy with it. Because nothing is better than being a film fan and getting the version of the film that you want. So I hope it happens for you guys, but ultimately I don't really think they will. Maybe they will. Patrick Conway writes, is it 100% that Marvel are not in San Diego Comic-Con this year? The only thing that is 100% is that I believe they're not doing a Hall H. They may still, just like Warner Brothers, will have a presence at San Diego Comic-Con. I think Marvel will too, just not in Hall H. Anmal Bajpai writes, when they see us move me to tears, it's amazing. It's so powerful. Guys, it's the Ava DuVernay thing. Again, it's not as good as Chernobyl to me. It's still really interesting. Let's just put it this way. It is very interpretive. Like, when they see us is Ava DuVernay's interpretation of what happened. That doesn't necessarily stand completely without contradiction of some other official things. But as a piece of art, it is dramatic, it's moving, it's powerful. It breaks you a little bit. Patrick Conway writes, have you seen Dead to Me? It's like TV's Simple Favor. No, I haven't. Anne wanted to start watching it. I want to start watching it, but I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet. Let's see here. Anthony Luciano writes, quote was from the Supernatural episode Scooby Natural. I don't even remember what the quote was now. It was too long ago. But if it was, awesome. Devontae, because I do love that. That episode of television was hilarious. Devontae Brown writes, John, they did reveal Reddington's identity. Remember? It's Ilya, and he's been out of prison for months. It ends when they finally took down the president. Again, I don't remember them saying that's his identity. Now I'm going to have to go downstairs after I'm done, pop on the NBC app, and go and watch that final episode again because I do not remember them actually saying his identity. I'm going to have to go back and watch it again now. All right, Richard Green writes, can a Dungeons & Dragons film series work if done in the style of Marvel films? Look, anything can work. Anything can work. If you write a great script, have a great story, but that's the hard part. The hard part is not concept. Concept's the easiest thing in the world. Concept is the easiest thing in the world. It's the executing it that becomes the hard part. Can a Dungeons & Dragons film series work in the style of Marvel films? Sure, but Dungeons & Dragons film series can work in the style of The Hangover. Dungeons & Dragons films can work in the style of the Lego Movie. It can work if it's executed right and done properly. Then it can. So can that happen? Sure it can. Doesn't mean it will, but it could. The possibility's there. Daniel, final question of the day. Daniel Manzanares writes, hearing rumors there will be a Rush Hour 4. Dude, there have been rumors about Rush Hour 4 for 5 years. You remember it was about 2 or 3 years ago? Jackie Chan said, yes, we're doing Rush Hour 4, and then nothing happened. And then Chris Tucker about 3 years ago said, yes, we're doing Rush Hour 4, and then nothing happened. There have constantly been people who are producers and actors in the movies saying for like 5 years that they're doing a Rush Hour 4. It could happen. Other than Rush Hour 2, which is great, I don't like any of the Rush Hour films other than 2. 2 was wonderful. But it's one of those, I'll believe it when I see it. Doesn't matter what they say, I'll believe it when I see it. It's possible, it could happen. They keep trying to make it happen. They keep failing at making it happen, but it's possible, and if it happens, it happens. All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And guys, listen, make sure you follow Ashley Whalen on her social media. Keep up to date on the things she's got going in her career. It's been so awesome to see her getting more and more of these big auditions and landing these big commercials and things like that. Keep following her, and hopefully we'll see her back here quite soon. Guys, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Keep up to date on all the things we got going on around here. Maybe consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters as well. That's always great too. Guys, that will do it for me for now. My name's John Campea. Thanks so much for being here, and until next time, bye-bye.